Hello and welcome to NerDebate 4, The Revenge. I'm your judge, Casey Ryan, and as you can see, we have all of our contestants, plus Michael Fight with us. Thank you, Michael, for being our tech hands, though little peek behind the pod. Chuck can only see me right now, so that's fun for him. So if he's kind of looking off into the middle distance, that's why. So actually, let's start there.
It's one of the reasons why. Let's be honest.
And it starts. Okay, let's start with our defending champ, Chuck Nickerson. Say hi.
Hi.
Oh, the Queen's wave. So nice. So nice. And then we'll do our two-time champ. We got Shannon Tompkins.
Hello.
No Queen's wave? Well, that's it.
I don't want to copy Chuck.
Very good. Okay. And then we have Nerd Debate 21 first runner-up, Colin Ryan.
Hello.
And then finally we have, I'm just going to read the whole thing. Todd, they'll never see me coming. Panic.
It's my year. It's my year. All right.
I don't think so.
All right. So before we start anything, you all know this is coming. We have to figure out who's going to go first. So I've got a little fun extra game here. Yes.
Wait, can I ask why we're going to figure out who goes first sober?
Yeah, can we just draw straws?
All right.
Should we just not start drinking and then?
Well,
figure out who
okay.
goes first?
What's everyone got? I was trying to skip that part, but go ahead. Colin, you can start.
I've got from my local Ghost Hawk Brewing in Clifton, New Jersey. This is called Denouement. It's an American sour red.
Ooh.
And it's going to go right here in the TARDIS.
Oh, it sounds like my first ex-wife. Oh, sorry.
Whoa, I knew her.
No, that was number 2.
No, that was number 2.
A quick reminder, there's no editing this year.
Oh,
So
man.
whatever you say stays. Todd, why don't you go next since you had that colorful comment?
Of course. So I'm drinking from a brewery that we've had before on the podcast from Maine Beer Company out of Freeport, Maine.
Oh, yeah.
I'm drinking their porter, which befitting the regal status that I hold, in which I will triumphantly ascend to the throne. I am drinking King Titus.
Oh, I love their labeling.
They're really good.
I just love it so much. Charles, what you drinking?
Well, I'm going to keep it easy. And seeing as how I am your cousin from Boston, and it is merely hours away from summer, I went to Classic Sam Summer Citrus Wheat Ale.
There you go. And Shannon,
Yeah.
what beer are you drinking that your mom helped you open?
Listen, I am not drinking beer this time. So
Shocking.
listen, I'm drinking a red wine from California called Troublemaker.
Very befitting of you.
That's pretty good.
That's what I thought.
I didn't have a chance to get anything new, so I am just drinking our Forever and Ever, which is coming up for our episode Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade for Patreon.
That's
Nice.
a good beer.
It was a very good beer. Michael, are you drinking anything fun? Are you just sticking with water?
Yeah, no, I actually have a wonderful straight from the tap of Liverpool, New York water, and
It's the best.
a little bit of ice on the side.
Liverpool, that may be a higher ABV than anybody else's.
Well, I hope so. The taxes are up there, so there better
Ice
be a
on the
few extra
side.
filters.
Exactly.
Come
So does
for
that
the
mean you take a
taxes.
sip and then you put the ice in after you take the sip? I don't
Exactly.
understand that.
Yeah,
All right.
that's how we do it here. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Keep it real classy.
So, as I was saying before, Colin's straight us in the right direction, I have a little pregame for us, and it's going to be called "And Introducing." I'm going to give you the very first movie an actor has been in. You can call out one at a time, one guess only, and whoever has the most points at the end wins. Oh, and by the way, there may be a theme. I don't know. Just
So wait, hang on. You're going to give us the movie, and we have to figure out who was that the other way around.
That was their
You're gonna-
first film.
Yep. I'm going to give you the movie, and then you got to figure out the actor.
Okay.
All right. And the very first one is a little movie called If Beale Street Could Talk.
Scarlett Johansson.
Nope.
No. Wait, really? I'm trying to think whose debut that could possibly have been.
I know. That's the point of the game.
Never even
No,
heard
I
of the
know.
movie.
You know, it's fun. Michael can see it, and he knows what I've done.
Paul Rudd.
No.
No, the guys, the movie came out like 3 years ago.
Yeah, it's not that old.
Oh,
It's a
It's a-
kid. It's a kid.
Uh-huh.
no, because the kid, there's well, yeah. Gosh,
And-
I don't.
10 seconds.
I don't know her name.
Her. Who do you think it is?
Well, she just
I
said
think
she
it's-
doesn't know her name.
Oh,
I think it's the star of the movie, but I don't know her name.
It is Dominique Thorne. You'll catch on. Don't worry. Okay, so second one is a little movie called Ginger Snaps 2 Unleashed.
it's Tatiana Maslany.
Yes, point for Colin.
I
Who?
love that movie.
What's it? Who is the person?
Tatiana
Maslany.
Maslany.
Former star of
mhm,
Orphan Black, current She-Hulk.
right.
Okay. Okay.
And I'm guessing Dominique Thorne is Ironheart.
I don't know what she's talking about. Anyways,
Yeah.
moving on to the next one. A little movie, little musical movie called 8 Mile.
Eminem.
I mean, technically,
I mean,
it
yes.
probably was his.
Yes, but no.
Oh, Chadwick Boseman. No. Nope. Nope.
Oh, I know
Well-
who it is.
Oh, okay.
Mark.
Well,
Did my
No,
guess actually count? Because it
Yeah.
was it was, so it does count. All right.
that was his first. Yeah.
oh, it was Chadwick Boseman.
No, it was not Chadwick
No,
Boseman.
I know
Oh.
who it is, but
10 seconds.
can I get a half
Oh,
a point?
Oscar Isaac.
Nope.
No.
Last chance. Chan, you want to take a Hail Mary?
I have no
Okay,
idea.
Chuck, who do you think it is?
No idea.
It's Falcon.
What's his actual name?
Oh, come on, Jesus. I just literally watched an interview with him too. And now, of course, I can't remember his name. But that's who it is because he was the rival rapper.
Yes, Anthony Mackie.
Thank
Yep.
you.
By the way,
His name
he's
is
now
Anthony Mackie.
he's technically not technically, he's Captain America now. He's not Falcon anymore. So
Whatever. I
okay,
already
then
lost a question.
the next one is a little movie, a very recent movie too, called Lady Macbeth.
Oh, that's fuck. That's her name.
I'm saving all my energy for the actual debate. So
Well,
Exactly.
okay.
Exactly.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I feel like I know this. too.
Florence Pugh.
Yes. There we go. 2 points for Colin.
Ah, nice. Nice.
All right. Next one. I'm sure you're all going to jump on this real quick. Little indie darling called Leon the Professional.
Natalie Portman.
Natalie Portman.
Chuck got the point. And last, a Western that we almost did for Patreon this year, True Grit.
Haley Steinfeld.
Haley Steinfeld.
Very good.
Yeah.
All right. So point for Chuck, point for Todd, but Colin wins with 2 points. Did everyone figure out what the
Yeah,
game
those
was?
are all the Disney shows.
Current Marvel TV stars.
Current replacements for the original 6 Avengers.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Guys,
Well
I'm a
done.
nerd. I'm a nerd. What can this is how my brain
Clearly.
works.
Clearly.
Okay, so that moves us to our first game, which is I'm going to set up some rules for the listening and watching audience.
So wait,
Hello.
what did I win? I go first?
You go first.
Okay.
Now,
Every time?
Every time.
Welcome to our world.
Okay, so this question, I'm going to give you 60 seconds for your explanation. Then Shannon, Todd, and Chuck, not in that order. We'll figure that out in a second. We'll get 30-second argument, and then you will get a 30-second rebuttal, Colin.
Oh, okay.
For this one, it's just 30 seconds. You don't need a full 45 for this.
All
That'll be
right.
for
Who is Michael the timekeeper?
timekeeper emeritus, Michael.
Are we
Correct.
getting warnings?
Yes. So I will give you guys 15-second warnings during your 60 and 10-second during your 30s.
Cool.
Everybody got that?
Got
All
it.
right.
Got it.
So, first question is, who is the best animated Disney villain? Now, Colin, I want you to give your answer as you wrote it out.
Oh, what I wrote to Casey was Gaston. But let me just say a few reasons why. One, no one fights like Gaston. Two, douses lights like Gaston. Three, in a wrestling match, nobody bites like Gaston. No, in all seriousness, Gaston is the best Disney animated villain because he is a villain you could meet in real life. He's not a magic user. He's not a wizard. He's not an evil witch. He's not evil incarnate. He's a selfish, intellectually incurious bully, and people follow him because of that. And we meet people like that every day, and it makes him terrifying.
20 seconds left if you want to add more.
I think that's my thesis statement right there.
You yield your time?
I yield the balance of my time.
All right, very good. So let's figure this out right now. It's going to be really easy because the way it is on my sheet. Michael, you can also do this. Colin will just get moved up, and then we'll go in the order of the rest. So it'll go Chuck, Shannon, Todd. So it'll be defending champion, two-time champ, and they'll never see me coming.
Enjoy saying that every time. Enjoy
Never
remembering
be
us.
champ.
No,
Only
not
that
that
way.
No, I don't mean that. I enjoy telling us what order we're going in every single time.
Yes, I need to before we start recording this, I need to send out the GIF of the person trying to herd cats because that's what this is.
Yeah,
this is 2 hours of me herding cats.
Only
Okay.
if you let cats drink beer.
Well,
Sure.
All right. So next is Charles, my cousin from Boston. And-
I went with, go ahead. What?
I was just gonna say, and you chose.
I chose Scar from Lion King. It's I'm just going to read right from my notes because that's all I have time for. So evil that it was almost Shakespearean, which may have been on purpose, seeing as how it may have been based on Hamlet, depending on who you ask. He's got a very distinctive appearance with the scar across his left eye. Classic. Doctor, more sinister colors than Musafa, which is
10
more
seconds.
kingly. 10 seconds. Holy shit. Inferiority complex. He's a narcissist who can't even stand to see hear Musafa's name mentioned after he's dead. Killed his brother in
Time's
front
up.
of his nephew.
Wait, I thought this was the attack on Colin. I think this. I think.
Oh fuck. You're
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
I
All
did it
right. So
wrong.
we're gonna do a mulligan. We're gonna do a mulligan.
We're gonna do a mulligan. Yep. Disregard everything. Chuck, give us your 30-second argument against Gaston. Thank you. That it felt weird, but now I get it. Thank you.
All right, we'll get it. Listen, we're mixing things up. This is how we
It's
do it.
new
We're
this year.
organic, like a fern.
Like
Yeah.
a fucking fern. All right, go ahead, Chuck. 30 seconds.
Christ, I haven't actually watched that movie enough to actually, other than the fact that he's a narcissistic prick who's clearly only thinking of himself. I haven't watched it enough to know, pull any bad traits from him other than the fact that he's a shit.
10 seconds.
I got nothing. That's it.
Okay, Shannon, go ahead. Wait, real quick, Colin, is this? Oh wait, it's animated. Shut up, Casey. Okay, go ahead.
You ready? All right. So lots of villains, I mean, don't have magic. Lots of Disney villains don't have magic and they don't have evil powers or anything. And he's just very one note. He's interested in only one thing, and it's Belle. Yeah, he's definitely a bully and a lot of people follow him and that makes him scary. But I mean, he doesn't have any magic about him. He doesn't have any powers and he's only got one thing
10
in
seconds.
mind. I think that there's a lot more villains that have a lot more depth to them. That's it.
Okay. And my attack on Gaston, I move to strike the entire answer and render it null and void. The blatant plagiarizing of the lyrics will be attacked by the Walt Disney Corporation. And as a result, that entire answer will be stricken from the record and the mouse will now attack Colin. I yield the balance of my time.
All right, Colin, you get 30 seconds rebuttal.
Todd, I'm clear under parity law. It's all fine. Shannon, I see what you're saying. I actually can't think off the top of my head of any other human non-magic using, except maybe Frollo, I guess. But anyway, the point I'm making here is everything you're saying makes him uninteresting is what makes him interesting. And I don't think it's just one
That's
thing
it.
he's interested in Belle. He's interested in himself and things that make him better. Belle is just one of them.
Time's up.
All right, now it's Chuck's turn. We'll figure this out by question 6. Don't worry. So we already know that you have chosen Scar. So you just go ahead and read your notes again, buddy.
You got to unmute.
You mute.
I thought I unmuted myself. You muted me. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
All right. Distinctive appearance. He's got the scar across his left eye. He's got a darker, more sinister look than Musafa, who has that majestic, natural lion look to him. He's got a runt of the litter type of stereotypical appearance of a criminal. He's got an inferiority complex. He's a narcissist who can't stand to hear Musafa's voice, name mentioned. Killed his brother in front of his nephew. Clearly evident he would have killed Simba at the same time. Blames everything on Simba. Does all this just to become king, taking the throne from Simba. Utter destruction of the jungle. He's friends with hyenas, who are, by the way, like a natural nemesis to the lion pride. Does it all again without magic. No magic needed here. Jeremy Irons is probably the perfect voice for him. It just gives him even that much more of a sinister look. And while dropping him off the cliff, he says, "Long live the king." End of argument.
All right. So for this, for the 30-second argument from the contestants, it's going to be Colin, Shannon, Todd. And go.
Well, look, you listed a lot of terrible things he did, but he's a Disney villain. They do terrible things. I actually think the fact that Gaston, as opposed to the many things you listed about Scar, doesn't fit a lot of looks bad, is bad tropes is what makes him a great villain. I don't think having a scar or a disability it makes a better villain. I think it's more interesting when somebody looks handsome and beautiful and is evil to the core.
All right. Shannon.
Okay, so I think kind of he is the same sort of thing as Gaston, where he doesn't have any powers. He's after only one thing and one thing only, which is the control of the kingdom and killing his brother. He does need henchmen to do his job for him because he can't do it on his own. So he's not really that powerful after all. I mean, Scar's a great character because of Jeremy Irons, and that's really about it. He's got a good song, kind of. He doesn't really sing it.
Time's up.
So I would echo I think some of what I heard in Shannon's response there. He's not that great. And in fact, I think that's his critical weakness as a villain. If you are going to have a great hero, you need a villain epically matched. And while I acknowledge that Jeremy Irons is the best of talent for that character, the reality is it's the best of filling into a role that's kind of meh. And I yield the balance of my time.
Okay, now it is Shannon's turn to tell us her best animated Disney villain. Go ahead, Shannon.
No, wait.
Don't I get to defend?
I'm Jesus, guys. I'll get it by the
We're
sixth
still in
question.
question one. Yeah, we're still in
I'm
question
so
one.
sorry. Go
Who
ahead.
wrote these new rules?
I know, right?
Clearly, he's an asshole. Okay, go ahead with your 30-second rebuttal, Chuck.
So I think that's what makes Scar so much better, is that he actually looks the part. Granted, Gaston does have that flair to him that he can look like a jerk, but he's also very handsome. But Scar actually looks evil. That's what makes him such a great character. And the fact that he actually has henchmen shows how big of a criminal mastermind he is, which makes him that much better of a pure evil sadist. He's like, I'm not going to do that. I'll just have my jerks do it for me. That's what makes him evil. He doesn't want to touch it. I'll have my boys do it.
Okay, so now it's Shannon's turn. No, wait. Yes, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, go ahead, Shannon.
All right, so I picked Mother Gothel from Tangled. So Rapunzel is by far the dumbest fairy tale I can possibly think of. Even before Into the Woods as a kid, I never really understood why she didn't just climb out of the tower, down her own hair, and just leave. So I think it's 100% because of Gothel that this fairy tale finally makes any sense. She completely dominates the film. She is the very first character we see, and she spends every waking moment of the movie working her angle. She does it without any magical powers or evil henchmen, but because she is still very menacing, she has this ability to flip back and forth between sweet and sarcastic plastic, constantly keeping Rapunzel off balance. She then spends 18 years subtly abusing a child she kidnapped, convincing her she is her mother, claiming she is keeping her in the tower out of love and protection, all for her own personal fountain of youth. Voiced by Donna Murphy, she even also delivers the best song of the movie. The amount of gaslighting that goes on in this song, listing Rapunzel's minuscule faults, calling her gullible, clumsy, even fat, making up scenarios about monsters and evils in the world outside the tower that Rapunzel's never seen, of course, all while reminding her that Mother is the only one that will ever be around to protect her.
Shannon's speed talking was definitely in her favor for that one. Holy shit, that was a lot of information we just got.
I timed myself before I did it.
You fucking nerd. Okay. So Colin, Chuck, Todd, in that order. Who'd we just lose?
I hit the wrong button.
Shannon put on the one ring.
Oh, nice going. Okay, go ahead, Colin.
So I hear what you're saying, but it sounds like you like this character a lot. It sounds like you're almost making the argument for best Disney anti-hero, not best Disney villain. You seem to almost be rooting for her and certainly sympathetic for her. And on some level, I understand that because it's got to be harder for somebody who is a woman, whereas Gaston is the patriarchy embodied.
Okay. Chuck.
So she sounds to me like an abusive parent. Doesn't sound anything special at all. She takes her kid and she hides her away in a tower. But I mean, what's so special about it? She's abusing children. Okay, yeah, that's evil. But it's just like you said, she just has that one thing.
10 seconds.
So I mean, that's it. Nothing original there. I see that every day.
All right. Well, I would question the thought process of a former champion who responds by telling us, asking the question, why didn't Rapunzel just climb down her own hair? How could that possibly work? And if we can't trust that question from Shannon Tompkins, then how can we listen to anything she says? She is guilty, guilty, guilty. Reject her false theory.
Todd brings the attack in.
Oh, good Lord.
Well, aside from Todd, that was possibly the darkest section of this. Like Chuck being like, that's an abusive parent. So what? Holy shit.
I love you, Shannon. This is just professional.
Okay. So, Shannon, you now get your 30-second rebuttal.
My point about that is that she makes the entire movie make sense. So I'm going to say this. I did a little research on Mother Gothel, and Disney, there is no character for Mother Gothel in Disney World. They consider her too evil to appear in the Disney parks at all.
10 seconds.
So you cannot visit her or get her autograph, unlike all of the other characters.
Okay, continuing the dark theme, you can't visit her at the parks. Okay. Last but definitely not least, Todd, they'll never see me coming. Panic.
I love that. Yes. So my selection for greatest villain is, of course, the evil queen from Snow White. She is the first big bad. This was Disney's first feature-length animated film. In fact, the movie itself was among the first 25 movies put into the National Film Registry. The United States Library of Congress deemed the film culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant. The evil queen is everything we need. She is epic. She is monstrous. She is larger than life. She is a foe seemingly beyond defeat. She is everything you need, bringing that epic villain that threatens everything in the story. And for that reason, the evil queen is the first and greatest Disney villain of all time. I yield the balance of my time.
Okay, so Chuck, Colin, Shannon. Yes, do I have that right? Yeah, Chuck, Colin, Shannon. Go ahead, Chuck.
All right, so she was the first villain, which means that they knew what to fix because of how She was, I mean, typical. Again, magic. Ooh, magic powers. Ooh, she's in a museum. Who cares? What's that got to do with the character? She's in the museum because it's one of the first original Disney animated movies that just so happened to be fantastic, based on one of their original stories. So
seconds.
yeah, we got a magical queen that does bad things to kids. How original. Done.
Colin, go ahead.
Well, Snow White is obviously a work of art, an amazing film for what it is. It's so stuck in a frankly sexist trope of a woman caught up in her own vanity and an evil stepmother. I just think that later Disney films,
10
including
seconds.
actually all three the rest of us have talked about, go beyond into more complicated and interesting villains.
Shannon.
So yeah, we talked about Disney villains that had no power. All three of us did kind of mention those, and she's a psycho with no song. And the other three, you know, we all have fantastic songs. Sorry, I'm sorry, Todd.
That's okay.
You yield the rest of your time.
Okay.
All right.
So
go ahead, Todd.
Okay. So first, yes, it is the first movie. Everything was riding on this one. If this had failed, we would not have anything that came after that. The movie succeeds, and it succeeds in no small part because of the epic struggle. That is not possible without an amazing villain. It is a sexist trope, but this was a movie made in 1937 based on folklore, and she doesn't have a song, but it wasn't the most musical Disney villain. It was the greatest Disney villain. And the Evil Queen remains the greatest.
Time's up.
Well, I gotta say, this was an awesome fight, guys. You were vicious and mean, and I think I can start by saying, Todd,
We were
you're
all
out.
villains.
No, Todd, Todd, you're out. They took you down. I mean, the Evil Queen, yes, is very scary, but every one of just take something from one of them takes you out of it. Oh, Shannon, that's a good point that Mother Gothel is not available for autographs, but does that make her the best, or does it just make her the scariest? I think it makes her the scariest. So that's down to Charles and Colin. Two of my favorite Disney villains right here. Now, if someone had said Hans, that would have been a very interesting argument. But I gotta go with the guy who did it first, and that's Gaston. At the beginning of the movie, you're like, Gaston's just this oafish dick that is out to bang Belle. And by the end of it, you're like, oh, he's a psychopath. Much like Hans. You're like, oh, Hans is a lovable guy that's with Anna. Oh, he's the bad guy. So the Gaston walked so Hans could run, and therefore it is Colin's point.
Well, let's be fair. Gaston walked because it was leg day. But
fun fact, I believe, Colin, that is the only part that we have both played.
I think that's true. I think that's true.
I think there's a little bias here, don't you guys? A little bias.
Oh, Shannon, I'm sorry. We're losing you. That's too bad.
Fine, Shannon. Cast us as Mother Gothel then.
Yeah.
Didn't it last year come down to a lot of Colin and I being
I
the
cast
final?
myself.
Okay. So on.
Wait.
Wait.
I know it's usually Casey's job to like throw a wrench in here and change everything up. Is there a virtue to us all doing our thesis statements and then all the rebuttals?
Maybe for this one, we will give the answer so you guys have time to think about it, and then we'll go through and do each so like for the next one, I'm going to ask the question and then you'll each give your answer, but not just the answer that you sent me. Then you'll do your argument so that it's not like this thing.
Yeah, but whoever goes last, then like that, folks have the
you're right.
longest
They have
time
the
to
longest
think.
time.
Yeah,
That's a good point. Okay. I'm so glad we're thinking of this while we're recording it.
we're organic. Yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah, we're something.
You
right
want to
now.
build the railroad while the trains are chugging down the track.
That's right.
Well, the train's going to derail in a second, it feels like. Okay. Anyways,
I
next.
mean, that's the
next-
fun.
Is it? Next question is, what is the most satisfying ending to a trilogy? Again, let's start with Colin.
Go. All right. My choice was Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home, which, yes, it's a fourth film, but it is the end of the Genesis trilogy, 2, 3, 4. One of the things I love about this is it's an upbeat film. It puts everybody back where there should be at the bridge of a brand new Enterprise after having lost the two most iconic things in the franchise, Spock and the Enterprise. It gets them back. And it was an accidental trilogy. They didn't set out to make it. And the pure satisfying joy of realizing you're watching the end of a great trilogy and you didn't know you were going into one is something special that I don't think something that you're watching. Oh, they're going to do the setup, the dark one, and the
15 seconds,
the payoff. You get more out of that accidental trilogy. The end.
Okay, so now Chuck, Shannon, Todd, in that order. 30-second argument. Go.
I'm arguing that Star Trek 4 wasn't the best. I don't even remember what it was about, to be honest with you. That's how
It's the
much I
one
put
with the
into it.
whales.
Yeah,
Whales.
the one with I don't even, it's been so long since I've seen that movie. I can't even I feel like I'm failing this miserably right now. I got nothing.
10 seconds.
Gosh, if only there was a hit podcast on this network that was doing all of these movies, you would be able to
I'm
get
not a
refresher
fucking
course,
Trekkie.
man.
What do you want me to say?
You could listen to our podcast about it in only twice the running time of the film.
I still haven't listened to this season of the Superpod Hero Cast, let alone listening to the Star
Get
Trek
out.
one.
Get out.
Okay, so I guess Chuck yields the rest of his time.
Yeah,
Shannon, go ahead.
I'm sorry, you picked the one with the whales as the end of the best movie as the end of a trilogy. That's the one that you picked. I don't understand why that's so. I'm sorry. That's like the best that you came up with is the Trek movie after Spock died and came back from the dead. That's the movie you picked as your best trilogy. Okay, I'm just checking.
You know, I would quote my co-competitor, Mr. Nickerson, in which he said, I don't even remember that one. That it undercuts the argument that it's the most satisfying ending to a trilogy. It's the whales. Listen, I'll say this. It's the funniest Star Trek. It's my favorite, but in no way do I see it as a satisfying end of a trilogy. So
10 seconds.
I accept it for the where the nuclear vessels are, but I reject it as the most satisfying conclusion to a trilogy.
I love that Shannon's whole argument was, you chose that one?
Yeah.
So now we're going to let Colin have a 30-second rebuttal explaining why he chose that one.
Well, look, y'all's lack of familiarity with the material is not an argument. It's satisfying ending of a trilogy. And the way I answered Casey was by sending him a GIF of the reveal of the Enterprise A. That's the ending of the trilogy. That's when people are put right back where they needed to be, where they should have been in the first movie. And it sets up putting people where they need to be in this film. It is that's the end of the trilogy.
Time's up.
Okay. Charles, what did you choose?
I chose Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. So it's clearly the best sequel of the series. The second one had a much darker tone. This one brings it more up to Raiders of the Lost Ark. You got Sean Connery. Great chemistry between Sean Connery and Harrison Ford. Two A-list actors that are actually working very well together. They also give a good message into how their father-son relationship worked. Indy obviously finds out that his father's missing while looking for the Grail. So he actually gets to find his dad and the Grail at the same time. The action scenes aren't redos of everything else. The tank chase scene is fantastic. You're bringing back characters from the original that were left out from Temple. So that adds to it all, except for Marion. Unfortunately, she doesn't get brought back until the one that we're
15
not going to
seconds.
mention. Nice Easter egg of the original by Indy losing his first find as a child. You got River Phoenix. The origin of Indy's name, we get to know what he really is, and it didn't need to be fixed. However, this one cements it as being one of the best trilogies because
Time's
of
up.
how good this movie was.
Okay. Colin, Shannon, Todd, go.
You know, Chuck, you had me there. I really was going until you reminded me of the thing that I wish this movie had that would make it satisfying. It's a great movie, but a satisfying conclusion of the trilogy is that Marion doesn't come back. And unfortunately, they never made any more movies, so she didn't. And the fact that his love interest is A, a Nazi, and B, dies, it does not fill you with that joy and satisfaction that it should have done.
Shannon.
Yeah, I got to agree with Colin. Unfortunately, I think River Phoenix and Sean Connery are the best parts of the movie. It's a lot of fun to watch them. And like, but that's just it. Like, is it considered a trilogy? Because is it the end of? Yeah. Oh, you're looking at me funny, Colin.
Again, if
we
it
don't count
came to
the-
the judge and
we don't
I took it as a
count the
trilogy,
last
sorry, Michael, pause
thing, 'cause-
pause for 1 second.
All right.
Shannon, shut up and listen. I'll mute you. I swear to God.
Wow,
All of
you
these
got
kind of
aggressive.
trilogies because you brought them to me as trilogies. And for a very long time, this was a trilogy until Lucasfilm
Dun, dun,
decided to
dun.
be greedy. So I'm counting it as a trilogy.
It's fine.
The end.
He knows it when he sees it.
Yeah, you got 10 seconds.
obscenity.
Go.
It's a good film. That's about it.
And I'll pick right up there. It's a great film. It's not like a wrapping up of a long thread. We don't have Marion. We don't have Short Round. There's nothing that connects it. Is it a phenomenal movie? Absolutely. But in terms of a trilogy story arc, it's not there. So for that reason, great movie, but not the satisfying ending to a trilogy.
Okay.
Before you judge, I do want to point out none of these are trilogy. All of you failed the trilogy question.
It's fair.
But
Casey specified that it could be internal trilogies within a longer series.
Sure.
Okay, that's a good.
Honestly,
but I was like,
all you
yeah.
have left after that is Back to the Future.
right.
It's the only
Right.
true trilogy out there at this point.
That's true. That's true.
Okay, so 30-second rebuttal.
Todd, it is actually a trilogy because it's a continuing story of Indiana Jones. You have him starting as a younger teacher through his class. You realize who he is, and it comes to a fruition with him finding his father and what could be the greatest find of any archaeologist. So yes, it is a trilogy because it's a continuing story. And Shannon said it best. It is the best. It is a great movie.
10
You don't
seconds.
need Short Round. He's not an original part of the movie. And the only thing, and I admitted it before Colin did, is that yes, Marion is missing. However, that doesn't
Time's
take
up.
away from the greatness of the movie.
Okay, Shannon, what did you pick?
All right. I picked The Return of the King, the end of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. So it's the end of the entire trilogy, which is really and truly near perfection. There's nothing else like it. It is an epic in every sense of the word. Prepping, planning, and filming of all three films at once gave the movies a sense of consistency that other trilogies cannot possibly recreate. The final film, The Return of the King, has such astonishing, breathtaking scale to it. It's not surprising at all that it cleaned up at the Academy Awards. It won all 11 awards it was nominated for, including Best Picture, tying with Titanic and Ben-Hur, and it's the only fantasy film to ever win Best Picture. It's one of the highest grossing films in history, and it ranks #1 out of all 3 movies on IMDb with a 9 out of 10. Die Hard fans often criticize the final moments of this last film as having not been true to the books, but most of us can overlook this final detail and enjoy the happy ending of not one, but all 3 masterpieces.
15 seconds.
Oh, wow. Well,
Looks like your timing went a little wrong.
Really love it. And I bet all of you do too.
Stop touching your mic.
Number 1. Sorry, Michael. On the best trilogies list.
Oh boy. Okay. So with
Don't touch the
that,
mic. Don't touch the mic. I got it.
don't touch the mic. Colin, Chuck, Todd.
You know who disagrees with you about this being part of a trilogy? J.R.R. Tolkien. He wrote one book, and his publishers demanded that it be split into 3 books. He always viewed it as a single novel, and he objected strongly to it being put in 3 books. It's not a trilogy. It's the back third of a single story.
Charles, that's you.
Oh, I didn't hear anybody say anything. So, yeah, I actually watched the extended version of these movies at the recommendation of some friends of mine who shall not be named. And I had to tell you, I couldn't fucking wait for this movie to be over because it was the same friggin' movie for all 12 hours. I literally sat and watched the same movie. There was no, I was glad it was
10
over.
seconds.
That's how happy I was. That's what made it great, is that I was glad that I had finally gotten this out of my life. Thank you. Waste of time.
Time's up.
So I think similar impact, but opposite side of the coin from Colin. Yes, it was one book. On the flip side, the films, it's like 47 hours of film, as Chuck just attested. So can we really call that a trilogy when it's a full work week to watch the entire thing? Also, the movie ends in the wrong place. You think you're done, and there's still another fucking hour. That's bullshit. And I yield the balance of my time.
Okay. Yeah. So Shannon, you get a 30-second rebuttal.
All right, so Tolkien is dead, and these are movies, the trilogies, not the books, which I read in 3 parts. So I don't really give a crap what Tolkien said. His publishers, whatever, they always came in 3 books. I read them in 8th grade, and they were in 3 books. Chuck, you shouldn't have watched it that way, buddy. I would not have suggested that. Your friends are all dumb. I would never have said that. Todd, like, same thing. Don't watch
I
the
watched
extended
it both
versions
ways.
right in a row. That was a mistake. And like, the storytelling and the pacing in the 3rd movie are stellar compared to the other 2. Every critic will agree with you.
Time's up.
Me, sorry.
Okay. And last, with his his idea of what the most satisfying ending to a trilogy is, Mr. Todd, they'll never see me coming.
Oh,
Panic.
stop that.
He can't, it's legally my name. It's literally right there. Okay. So the most satisfying ending to a trilogy is, of course, the first and most epic trilogy of our childhoods. It is the original Star Wars trilogy, 4, 5, and 6, Return of the Jedi. Unlike earlier examples that had different threads that maybe went for one movie or 2, the threads for all of these characters are fully fleshed out. Everyone gets a redemption. Everyone gets an ending. And of course, it illustrates why George Lucas has said, when we could still trust him, that Star Wars is about the redemption of Anakin Skywalker and Darth Vader's triumph and his rejection of the Empire, the Emperor, and the dark side. Is, of course,
15 seconds.
The most amazing thing. It also reinforces the point that all of us have always known, which, despite the book of Boba Fett, we know Boba Fett is a punk ass bitch.
Okay. Colin, Chuck, Colin, Chuck, Shannon. Yes. No. Yes. Colin, Chuck, Shannon.
So my point was that you make an accidental trilogy, and that there's an amazing thing to that, because you don't plan to make a trilogy and then you have something that's emotionally satisfying. Unfortunately, if you do plan to make a trilogy and you've announced that you're making the last 2 movies, and then you decide that the woman the protagonist has been trying to bone is actually his sister, you lose some points. He was making it up as he goes along.
Charles.
Todd, it's not even the best movie of the 3 of them. I mean, let's call a spade here. Empire Strikes Back is where it's at. You've got murder bears in Return of the Jedi. Oh, a bunch of cute little things running around, helping everybody out. Yeah, it comes to an end. Okay, great. We see the ghost in the side over here. Hey, how you doing? It's not even the best movie of the three of them. So
10
I mean, I'll
seconds.
just leave it at that.
Yeah. All right. So Chuck just stole my entire argument because I think that we have this. Don't we have this? I feel like it's deja vu. Don't we have this entire conversation like all the time? You guys always say the middle one's the best movie. The Empire Strikes Back is the best movie, and you always like shit on Return of the Jedi. So like I don't really know what else to say. You said the rules were the most satisfying ending of the trilogy, and I know for a fact y'all think that this is not the most satisfying one. So you lose, Todd. Sorry.
So allow me to explain how each of you are so very wrong. So Colin, yes, you are correct. George Lucas should not be let anywhere near his films and is not a great writer. However, he is a wonderful visionary. His poor execution or planning does not take away from the ending we get to in Return of the Jedi. Chuck and Shannon, you're both right and wrong. It's not the best movie in the trilogy, but it's the most satisfying ending to a trilogy. Empire, everyone knows, is a better movie. This is a satisfying ending.
All right, this is real simple at the beginning. Todd, you're out. They destroyed you.
What are you talking? I demand a recount. I'm going.
You yourself just said that. Wait,
Russia.
You literally just said poor planning and execution in your defense.
It doesn't
did.
change. Okay. Right.
You
Okay. Well, I'll see you in court. I'll see you in court.
You hoisted yourself by your own petard, sir. Okay, so well. Two of you froze. No, all of you froze. Everyone froze. Oh God. I'm so glad this happened.
So Todd
wait, he's back. He's back. He's moving.
Okay. All right.
You all
He's
froze,
back.
so I'm very interested to see what happened. My internet connection
Only
is,
you.
We're all
froze.
out of
does that.
carbonite now.
You
No,
froze.
we were all talking.
well, I don't think the Zoom picked that up because you all
shit.
froze. And at first I thought Todd had froze, and I'm like, wait, Shannon, wait. You'll see when the episode comes out. There's this slow realization. Oh shit, everyone is frozen in carbonite.
And then-
Not
But
well
that
played.
still doesn't.
Well played.
Well, clearly that reference clearly shows
From the best of
importance.
those three movies, The Empire Strikes Back.
Where
Boba
is he
Fett
from?
isn't even in fucking Return of the Jedi. He's dead.
He gets
He
thrown
gets
into the
killed.
Star
He
He
Wars.
gets
dies
sucked
in the-
into that big
Listen,
sand
even
pit.
I know that he dies at the beginning.
No, that's
Yeah, it's
right.
actually, I think that's the first time his name is spoken on camera.
Well, Boba Fett.
Boba Fett.
Boba Fett.
Fett.
All right. So with that, yeah, Todd, you're still out.
I'll see you in court. We have the greatest lawsuits. Are
No,
How dare you.
come
No,
on.
you're muted. Go away. Okay. Chuck. Yes, it is a fantastic movie. Yes, it is a satisfying ending. However, they do get you with the fact that it's not an overarching story. It is a serials. It's serials. Same character, different adventures. Exactly what Lucas and Spielberg were going for. Racism and all. So you are also out.
Agree to disagree.
Yeah, that's kind of how this works, buddy. Okay. Colin, I was with you until you said it was an accidental trilogy. You shot yourself in the foot with that. It only becomes a trilogy after the fact, after everyone goes, hey, there's kind of this overarching story.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah, it wasn't set out to be a trilogy. It's like they slipped and fell into a trilogy suddenly. So it is not you. That leaves two-time champ Shan Tompkins. 4 endings in all. It is still the most
I don't
satisfying.
think there was 4 endings.
There are
but all
literally
right.
4 endings.
I'm gonna go back and count.
I mean, they
Go right
cut
ahead.
like
Do you know
two
what you're gonna
they
count?
cut
It's
at
gonna
least
take
2 from
you
the
like
book.
16
So
hours.
They
Are
cut
you
the
rejecting
Scouring
the
of the
point?
Shire. There's
Yeah,
rejecting the point that
You know,
books don't matter.
nobody brought up the Scouring of the Shire, and I had a full-on defense for that, Colin. So
for cutting the Scouring of the Shire.
I had a
Shannon, I
defense.
really enjoy.
Well, let me
that
just
you
say
are-
that defense was
All right.
wrong.
I really enjoy that you're arguing after you won the fucking point.
I'm not. I'm
Maybe-
Colin's.
you should
Colin's.
just give me the point.
I muted her. It's fine. Okay, so that means Shannon won that point because it is even if it's very long. Chuck, you said you just wanted it to be over, so you were satisfied when it was over because it was over.
Not because it was a great ending, satisfying me.
Satisfying.
That it was-
That's the only word I use. Satisfying. All right, calm down. So that point is Shannon's. So that moves us to question 3, which
Just announcing I'm switching beers.
of course you are.
What are we drinking now?
Brewer's Beer, an American red IPA from Montclair Brewery, my other local brewery.
I've
Oh,
been to
I'm
that
growing
one.
my goatee back. So
Yeah,
I might
it's a
now
great
start
place.
Drinking IPAs again.
Okay. So the next question is, which Star Wars character do you want to see an origin story of next, Obi-Wan style? And again, Colin, Chuck, Shannon, Todd.
Okay, so I'm just going to read a quote really quickly from an interview that was released today. Look, I think for the Star Wars universe to expand, it has to expand. I don't think that I'm any use to the Star Wars universe making a movie where everyone's like, oh, great, that's the blueprints of the Millennium Falcon. Oh, that's Chewbacca's grandmother. That all stands alone. That's great, though I would like to take something new and create some new characters and just expand the world. Otherwise, it feels like it's a very small story, which is why I want to see a movie about the kid who picks up the broom at the end of The Last Jedi. I want to see this story go out into the rest of this universe. I don't want to see any Skywalkers anywhere in the rear view. I want the Force democratized and given out to people without special bloodlines. And I want to see the full expanse of this universe. By the way, that quote was from future Star Wars director Taika Waititi. The end.
Okay. So Chuck, Shannon, Todd, give us your argument why you think that's wrong.
Well, first of all, 30, what was it? About 70% of that was actually read from somebody else's article. So is that plagiarism, or is that, I mean, was somebody original thought? Who is this kid? I mean, what, he picked up a broom. Great. I mean, maybe he's going to play Quidditch. I don't know. I'll pass. I'm all
10
done
seconds.
here. Moving on.
Don't bring your Harry Potter into your Star Wars. How dare you?
Okay, yes, but I mean, that's nice, but who's gonna watch it? I mean, somebody's got to put some money into that. And yeah, I'm Colin, I know you would, but like you keep watching the whale movie over and over again. I don't know who's gonna watch it. I think that somebody's got to invest and somebody's got to make it, and then you got to get a lot of people to watch it. Disney's not gonna do that. I like it, but Disney's not gonna do it.
All right. So, Colin, I will admit you pose an interesting question. The problem is that's not the question. The question was, which Star Wars character do you want to see the origin story of next? You just described where to go in the future. The question was, looking back, whose origin do we want to see? So I will admit, I agree with that perspective. We need a different direction, but that's not backwards looking origin. That's forward looking direction. So unfortunately, you didn't answer the question.
Okay, Colin, 30-second rebuttal.
He's 9. If we pick up here, it's his origin story. Shannon, great argument for commerce over art, but I disagree. And Chuck, you said, who is this kid? See, you want to know too. You want more. I want to move forward in Star Wars. I do not want to spend all this time plumbing the backstory and knowing what happened in all the cracks. We need to move forward. It will still be an origin story. The kid is 9.
Okay. That moves us to Chuck's answer. Go ahead.
I went with Maz Kanata from who came out in episode 7. She's been around for longer than millennia, so she's actually older than Yoda. She's a former pilot and smuggler, so I mean, she's got a big backstory to her. Some good adventures there has to be. She is the owner of the classic Star Wars reggae bar. I mean, Who doesn't want to go to a reggae bar in the Star Wars galaxy? She witnessed the rise and the fall of the Sith, the Empire, and now the First Order. She has a strange mystical connection to the galaxy, and she's also Force sensitive. Somehow or another, she ends up with Luke Skywalker's lightsaber. And I know that I want to know how the fuck she got it. There's no answer. They ask her and they say, yeah, that's a
15
question
seconds.
for another time. She has a thing for Chewie, and it's been hinted that they dated at one time. She's friends with Leia because she was at her services, and she helped her with Jabba the Hutt and getting Han back. The timeline that I would use is when she's
Time's
actually
up.
dating Chewie.
Okay. Colin, Shannon, Todd.
I don't want to watch a whole movie about a CGI character. I don't think that that's going to play to Star Wars' strengths. I also think the more Star Wars stays away from Caribbean culture in the post-Jar Jar era, the better. So your reggae argument doesn't really light my fire. Yeah, I love that character. I love Lupita Nyong'o playing it, but that's it. That's all I needed.
Yes, go. I feel like this could maybe work as a cartoon. I like that character too. But I think that I think Colin's right. I'm not super interested in this, but I actually do think it could work as a cartoon. No more I'm thinking about it. I think it's a good idea. But I don't know if I want to hang out with her and explore her relationship with Chewie. I don't really want to see that.
First of all, I think that's racist against Wookiees. So I'll just come out right out and say it. So, Michael, pause the time. I also want to announce I'm also switching beers. I've gone to Saranac's Legacy IPA 2.0, which is a delightful IPA from a local brewer. So, okay. So I'm sorry, Chuck. You said episode 7. I'm sorry. I'm getting a 404 page not found error. There is no movie worth watching. Episode 7. The challenge is you raised some interesting questions. The reality is she's a footnote. She's not the character to star in an origin story. I'm interested to look on the Wikipedia page, but I'm not watching a whole story.
Okay, 30
You mean
second.
Wikipedia?
Well, that's true. 30-second rebuttal.
Colin, it doesn't matter. We don't have to know about her reggae bar. That was the last 100 years of her life. We've got 900 more to work with. Shannon, thank you for backing my argument. I appreciate that. And Todd, it doesn't matter whether or not you like the movie. It's the character that's in the movie. There's been plenty of movies that we've watched where we've hated. However, characters in these movies are fantastic and we want to know more about. This woman is 1,000 years old. She's got all kinds of stuff going around her that's not just about the
5
Force.
seconds.
All kinds of smuggling stories. And she dated fucking a Wookiee.
Time's up.
Are we finding out that Chuck is sexually attracted to Wookiees right now? He's really sticking to that point.
No, so like if Mary Poppins could be a Wookiee.
Why do we keep
what
back
is
to
it?
Mary Poppins?
Rule
Rule
I don't-
34.
She's your
Wookiees
favorite.
have teeth in their asshole. That is canon. I just want
Wait,
you
what?
to, I want to put that out there.
Well,
Jesus. Why?
I'm gonna
Why?
keep it clean.
Nobody
and
wanted
I'm gonna
that.
I'm
Nobody wanted to know that, Michael.
Wait, is that for real?
But now you do, and you need to know.
All right. Anyways,
Rule 34.
Cannot unknow.
Yeah. Shannon, go ahead.
I'm a
Please
little
get us away
stunned by
from
that.
asshole
right.
teeth.
Okay. All right. So I went with Leia. So I can't think of anyone more deserving or anyone I would like to know more about. There's a lot of holes in her story for me. And I don't have the luxury of having read any of the expanded universe comics or any of the books. So I know next to nothing about Leia other than what I've seen in the movies. There was such a huge surge in little girls flocking to Star Wars with the introduction of Rey in The Force Awakens. And now with this like little glimpse into young Leia's life that we're getting with the Obi-Wan series, I think it's a perfect time to segue into Leia's own series. That's it.
Okay. Colin, Chuck, Todd.
Don't kid yourself. They will never let that little girl grow up and play adult Leia or teenage Leia. They will digitally grave rob the late Carrie Fisher and put her on screen with a digitally created voice, and it will be utter shite. If she was still alive, I would watch a General Leia movie in a heartbeat, but she's left us, and so is the character as an adult.
Again,
Point
Charles,
check.
this is your
Oh,
turn.
I'm not here. Sometimes I'm not hearing your cue, Casey. All right, so we're actually watching Leia grow up as we speak. So we're actually in the origin story as we speak. And then we literally watched her from the time where she's literally, 19, 20, until she passes away. How much more can we actually put in for Leia? We've seen her whole friggin' life. And we're seeing the beginning of it now. She's 8. Thank you. Her origin story,
10
Obi-Wan,
seconds.
thanks. All set.
Time's up.
Listen, we love Leia. The problem with Leia is you cannot separate Carrie Fisher from Leia. I don't want to see anyone else play it. I'll echo Colin. No one else should. We're getting glimpses of her now in Obi-Wan. I'm fine. But we were okay with Ewan McGregor becoming Sir Alec Guinness's character. We will not accept that for anyone to step into Carrie Fisher's shoes. So it's just unworkable. Can't have it. Won't work.
Okay, 30-second rebuttal, Shannon.
Oh, you're such a bunch of boys. Oh my God. We can handle Ewan McGregor replacing Alec Guinness, but we can't handle anybody else replacing Carrie Fisher. Oh my God. Such an eye roll. Okay. So listen, I don't mind that. Like, I don't mind having somebody else replace Carrie Fisher. I adore her and I was devastated when she died, but I don't need, so I can handle somebody else playing her part, especially because it was tough. It seemed tough for her to do it. Listen, I picked this before Obi-Wan came out, and I don't think so, Colin. It doesn't really bother me if somebody else
Time's
plays
up.
her.
But
Okay.
you won't let somebody else play her. They will put.
I
They
think
will
they will.
do the no.
It'll be
That
okay.
Well,
history does not
they've
show
s-
us Disney doing that.
You're right.
They've said
right.
they will not use they will not digitally recreate her. So I hope the mouse honors its promise. If
Yeah.
anyone, that's the princess.
That's digital. History does not show us that either.
It'll be
Yeah.
okay.
Wasn't it J.J. Abrams who said that, not Walt Disney?
Oh, maybe.
So
I
To
mean,
be
listen,
fair, I
Wait,
don't think
Walt
Disney
Disney
is
said
saying
it. They
much.
unfroze him, and he said it.
yes, they brought his
Yes.
head out, and yeah.
that's in
Yeah,
that
his head is
last
frozen
season
right
of
next to Ted
Futurama.
I have
Williams.
absolute trust in Disney.
It was in a
And
jar
then he
next
said,
to
"J.J.
Nixon.
Abrams is a communist."
J.J. Abrams is something. Anyways, Todd, it's your turn.
Okay, so the question was origin story. The one character who is ominous and threatening and all powerful seeming and yet doesn't really make sense is Jabba the Hutt. He's a big fat slug. He's not fast. Slave Leia, chokes him out with a chain while his little frog guy laughs there. It makes no sense. But this is a part of the universe I want to explore. This could also open up stories related to the whole smuggler, the whole dark side of the universe, meaning the underworld, the criminals. But I don't understand why Jabba is so feared. I want to see that. Book of Boba Fett failed. It did not give us the story we wanted. Jabba the Hutt's origin is a chance to revisit that, give us a great anti-hero who's epic and threatening and whose place in the universe makes sense.
Okay, Colin, Chuck, Shannon.
Two things. I think that the criminal corner is a great idea to explore. The idea of a Jabba Scarface isn't the worst one, but I don't want to watch a CGI Hut for 2 hours, and he doesn't speak English or standard, or sorry, it's basic, I believe. We're gonna have the whole thing in Huttese with subtitles. People won't even watch Korean with subtitles.
Go ahead, Chuck.
I'm sorry. I'm not hearing your cue.
I'm just gonna
So,
start
yeah.
saying your name when I'm done.
My
Okay,
my
that'll work
cue is
perfectly.
I give you the list before we start.
Okay.
No,
So
but remember,
I'm gonna
Chuck
piggyback-
can't see the rest of us, though. He's only
But
seeing
he can hear us, right?
Yeah, but I can see Colin when he's finished also.
No,
So anyways-
I'm doing these silent finishes, and I should just go. Take it away, Chuck.
No, I got you. All right. So I'm going to piggyback on Colin. I don't want to read a movie the whole for 2 hours. I don't want to watch a bunch of slugs moving around very slowly. And if I want to watch a mob movie, I'll go watch Goodfellas. Thank you. I'm all set.
Okay, so I've been watching I've been like binging Clone Wars like crazy to try to like catch up to like Obi-Wan, and the Hutts in there like don't they speak a lot of the times. I don't, but I just don't get it. Like I didn't have any idea that there was more than Jabba the Hutt in the first place. So now there's a whole bunch of these like slimy guys running all over the place. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life. I don't need to see any more than what's on a cartoon. So I feel like you have another cartoon on your hands, Todd. Like that's great. Could do a little cartoon thing.
So I'm not necessarily opposed to a cartoon. I don't really care. I think the strength of the story is the most important thing. Colin and Chuck, in terms of language, as we all know, if you cast an actor and give them a British accent, we will accept that that's a foreign language. So doesn't matter about the language. He'll just speak in the British accent, and that's Huttese. The reality
so you want
is
Hugh Grant to play.
The reality is he's an epic, menacing character. We don't know why, and that's a story worth exploring. And yes, we'll take Hugh Grant.
Holy shit. Okay. So here's the fun.
I'm picturing Hutts right now cutting garlic with a razor blade.
So gross.
They didn't have blasters in Goodfellas. That's right.
Man, all of your choices. There is, I'm sure no one, maybe Michael has watched it, Star Wars Visionaries, where they go through and do little mini, and almost all of your answers. That's where I want to see these. I want to see these as little slice of life stories. Shannon, you were so close by bringing up Clone Wars, because who is a character in Clone Wars? Jabba the fucking Hutt.
I know. Yeah.
He's in a ton of it.
Right?
So Todd,
It's
if you want your
hilarious.
Jabba the Hutt backstory, go watch Clone
There's
Wars.
a whole bunch of Hutts on there. It's the bizarre.
But it's not Jabba the Hutt.
There's a whole
Yeah, it is.
Clone
No, no,
Wars
no,
No, there's a lot of Jabba.
No.
Yo, there's
But
a
it's Clone
shit ton.
Wars. But it's
No,
Clone Wars.
but it's Jabba
Yeah.
the Hutt's story. You want his story, go there.
Yeah, where they
Um,
have to like go rescue his kid, like Anakin and Ahsoka go
Yeah,
rescue
Zero the
Jabba's
Hutt.
kid, and there's a whole
like
story
Zero
behind
the
it
Hutt.
too.
Yeah, it's pretty bonkers.
It's crazy.
Colin, when you sent me the broomstick kid from the final shot of The Last Jedi, literally what Colin sent me, I was like, are you taking this question seriously?
No, but this is my annual. I disagree with the premise of the question. This is the which live action Disney movie one should they do?
And
I just don't
therefore,
want them to do any of more of these movies where they go backwards and look at the stuff.
and
So-
therefore you are out. Yeah. Surprise, surprise. Shannon, I was really excited about a Leia series until almost everyone else mentioned they're just going to CG Carrie
I
Fisher.
don't think they will.
And well,
I'm just
four of
saying.
us think the other way, maybe five of us. Michael, do you agree?
I know.
I'm gonna go to you. Yeah, they're not gonna
Yeah.
cast. They're either gonna do that, or they're going to, now that prosthetics seem to be coming back, they're gonna prosthetic someone's face to look like Carrie Fisher. Either way, it's
Well-
gonna be an uncanny valley, and it's gonna be uncomfortable to watch. The only one of these that I would actually watch an actual series of is Maz Kanata. Lupita Nyong'o aside, because I fucking love her, I would watch the shit out of like everything, like the what you said about the it's a story for another time. How does she get Luke's lightsaber? That shit went down in Bespin. I
Right.
want to find that out.
It was a 6-second conversation. That's a story for another time. No,
I'm like, oh,
right
I'll get
now,
to it later in
now.
this
Her bar
trilogy.
is
I'll say-
underneath
Good.
Bespin. It
I'll
just-
say
it
it's
literally-
closest to what I was at. It's at least an underexplored corner instead of well explored territory where we're just filling in the tiny you
Yeah,
forgot
I'm
to
taking
mention what they
credit.
had for breakfast that day. Make a whole episode about it.
Right. Like if they
That's
even
George
if-
R.R. Martin's game. So how dare you?
No,
That
no,
is.
no.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
always a bread bowl.
Hey,
with
can we
George
listen
R.
to
Martin.
Casey?
It's always a
give me my
bread bowl
point,
of soup.
please? Can we move on?
I'm gonna mute all you motherfuckers. Now with her getting Luke's lightsaber, simply because I don't want a lot of Skywalker. I'm tired of Skywalkers, like a lot of us
Just
are.
the
And
story. How
I
she-
I just want it like the last 10 minutes of episode 6 of her 6-part series. That's where she finds it. Like there's like someone who mentions something to her in episode 1, and she's like, we'll get to that. And then they go do that, and that's how we find out. Point being, Chuck gets the point for this one. Maz Kanata deserves her own series. And that moves us to question 4, which is going to be a fun one, I think, because it's stretching the word trilogy again.
Yeah, you had trilogy on the brain this year,
I
man.
sure did. What is the best standalone MCU trilogy? That would be Spider-Man, Thor, Captain America, and Iron Man. Because Ant-Man hasn't come out yet. Go ahead, Gum.
All right. So I chose Thor, and I think the reason for that is that Thor Ragnarok is the only movie that ends on a high note. It's the only one where the third movie is the best of the 3, and where the third movie is also in service of the character more than it's in service of the larger MCU. Civil War is in service of the larger MCU. So is the last Spider-Man movie. The final Iron Man is not so much in the service of the MCU, but it also blows up the premise of Iron Man, which they were forced to completely ignore. Thor sets up Thor for an exciting new future, but also is not really just an installment in the MCU.
Okay.
My turn, correct?
Casey,
Right,
you muted yourself accidentally.
Yeah, you muted yourself. I didn't hear a word you said.
Now you're still muted.
Everyone, can you hear me now? Okay.
Yes.
Chuck, Shannon, Todd.
So Thor, I don't look at Thor got lucky because it ended up being the best of all the 3 of them. Ragnarok being that is, it is the best of all 3 of those movies, which is a rare feat. The Dark World, you can just remove it, so that kind of makes it a sequel. But I mean, Thor does actually have the Hulk and
10 seconds.
But it's not a continuous trilogy. They don't flow into it. It's all individual stories, kind of like Indiana Jones was. They're all individual. That's where I got.
Yeah, I agree with Chuck. Like these movies are all over the place. Like the first one is a nice introductory story. The second one, nobody cares about. And the third one is like a buddy comedy movie, which is fantastic. I love it. But, and it's definitely the best of the 3, but they're not like, they don't flow very well in the MCU at all. Yeah, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm good.
Yeah, and that's the fatal flaw, right? Is that they are essentially 3 disconnected movies. The third one, brilliant. Can't wait to see what happens with Love and Thunder. But in no way does this feel like a cohesive trilogy. Ending on a high note, yeah, I would absolutely give it to Thor, but that's not the question. It's the trilogy, and I don't see any kind of story arc or thread that makes this cohesive piece.
The story arc and thread it's easy to miss because it's not about defeating one villain over 3 or anything. It's about growing into the man he's supposed to be. And most crucially, it is about his relationship with the only other character to appear in all 3 movies, his brother. It's really about Thor and Loki finding a relationship. And that's where they wind up at the end of this. And that is what makes it a trilogy that just succeeds better than the other 3 as a trilogy.
Charles, it's your
Casey,
turn.
now you talk.
Yeah, Charles, it's your turn.
All right. I went with Iron Man. Shocking. If you had to pick one trilogy from the MCU without having any knowledge of the rest of the MCU universe, Iron Man is the one you needed. It's the movie that kickstarted Iron Man alone is the one that kickstarted the whole MCU franchise. Still considered to be one of the best of the movies. It has 2 completely independent movies without characters or events from other movies to rely on. The first 2 flow with the narrative of who Tony Stark is without having anything to do with anything else in the universe, and it's a natural progression of a story. It never incorporates other characters introduced from other movies like the others do. It isn't until Iron Man 3 you actually need another movie from the universe to understand what's going on, unlike Captain America and Thor. The character arc is great throughout the whole series, to where you can see Tony changing as a person. Not only does it transition him from being a solo act to his life of Avenger and being a team player, but also the struggle of how much the suits mean to him as opposed to compared to his family. Robert
Time's
Downey
up.
Jr. And it's a strict
Time's up.
trilogy. By definition, Iron Man's the
Time's up.
closest.
Time's up. Time's up.
Stop talking.
Sorry.
All right. Colin, Shannon, Todd.
So it would be great as a trilogy if it wasn't in the MCU. And the question was best standalone MCU movie trilogy. It blows up the premise and then they just completely ignore it. And that's a problem. And you can all shit on the Dark World as much as you like, but nobody loves Iron Man 2. And I think just batting average is way, Todd, I know, but the batting average is way higher for Thor.
I don't know if I agree with that, Colin, but yeah, I know the second movie is not great. And honestly, by the time we get to the third movie, I'm kind of Iron Man'd out. Like, it's tough to get through it. It's not one I watch over and over and over again. I love the first one, but it's the beginning of everything. And so I appreciate all the Iron Man movies because of that, but they're not like super cohesive for me, like in the MCU. Like they're kind of like, again, they're kind of like all over the place for me. Okay, sorry.
Similar to that theme that Shannon just explored, the reality is after the first Iron Man movie, Iron Man's best work is in other films. And that's why it's not a great trilogy. His best stuff comes after you go outside the Iron Man trilogy. So listen, we don't have the MCU without Robert Downey Jr., but that's not the question. It's the best standalone MCU trilogy, and those three movies do not hit it.
It's not so much that Robert Downey Jr. is better in the other movies. The question is, what is the best standalone trilogy? And as a standalone trilogy, you can watch Iron Man without any of the other 11-7 movies. That's the point of it. With all of the other characters that Casey mentioned, you need the rest of the MCU
10 seconds
to actually follow along with what the story is, because you aren't going to pick up on everything. With Iron Man, you don't need that. Best standalone trilogy, hands down.
Okay. Shannon, your turn.
Sorry. Okay. All right. So I have the Spider-Man trilogies. All three of these movies fit like neatly and perfectly within the MCU timeline. No sooner is Tom Holland's brand new, sparkly, adorable Spidey introduced in Civil War than he is starring in his own movie. Homecoming is his first solo outing. It hits like a 92% on Rotten Tomatoes. 2 Avengers movies later, and Tony Stark's death, Spidey goes back to school after like a 5-year absence in Far From Home, where he solidifies his superhero status and his relationship with MJ and friends. It sets us up for this massive epic conclusion. Far From Home stands at 90%, which brings us to the most incredible movie of 2021, No Way Home, with 93% on Rotten Tomatoes. I cried 3 times. That movie should have at least been nominated for an Oscar, bringing together all 3 Spideys, villains from different franchises, and the feat nobody thought was possible. I think all 3 of these films are fresh and exciting. I've been continuously charmed by darling little Tom Holland, and I think all 3 movies are like a perfect little present with a tidy little bow.
Oh, by the way, listening and watching audience, spoilers.
Yeah.
Sorry if you didn't see the biggest movie of 2021.
or just didn't exist on the internet for the past 6
Yeah,
months.
I was gonna say
Right.
I saw it after being
That's
thoroughly spoiled.
I lucked out.
Okay, arguments against is Colin, Chuck, Todd.
2 words that are hanging up in my brain. One that Shannon said, which was neatly, and I really do not think neatly applies to this series of films. And the other one is Casey's words, standalone. This is not so much a trilogy as 3 sequels to other MCU films that star the same set of characters. They're setting up the next trilogy. That's where he's going next, probably. But nothing about this movie stands alone. You have to be watching everything else.
And along those lines, the first Spider-Man, you have to have who else? Iron Man, who kicked off the whole franchise. So Iron Man has to help this kid along, give him his suit. I mean, he actually gave him his suit. And then you have to end it, you have to have 3 Spider-Man to make the movie great. So they had to go all the way back to Tobey Maguire, who you either love
10
him or hate him.
seconds.
And if you really like Spider-Man, you hate Tobey Maguire. So yeah, you needed 3 Spider-Men to make the trilogy great. It's not standalone. It's a sequel to everything else, as Colin said.
Yeah, listen, I love that character, but he is strong because of his roots in the other movies outside of his own. Underoos, Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good. His moments aren't in his greatest moments aren't in his own movies, and I think that's the challenge. Listen, I love Spider-Man, love Tom Holland, but it's strong because of where it fits in the larger universe.
Okay, so I totally disagree, Colin. They set up everything for him and Chuck, which is why everything is perfectly set up and planned. And that's what makes it such a perfect trilogy, as opposed to your guys' movies, which are like up all over the place because nobody really thought ahead of time. So everything is set up for him. And at the end of it all, at the end of the third one, now he is completely set up to be alone and on his own without help from anybody else. So now it's like they're starting over.
For once, I'm glad this is a video medium because Chuck's squirming was so wonderful.
I'm dying.
Suck it up, man. Suck it up.
Literally just lost the argument for
No, actually, I made it better. I made it better.
All right. Everybody shut up.
Todd, I'm really suspenseful about what Todd picked.
Listen,
yeah.
Even if this wasn't the
how
order,
fast did you have to type, Todd?
Oh, I've
even-
never typed faster.
even if this wasn't the order, I would have put Todd last because of course he chose the guy where there's 2 shrines to him behind him.
Exactly. Those are only the ones you can see, right?
Oh,
So
for
I've
fuck's
got.
sake.
There's also the
Right.
bowling shrine for that
That's
episode
right.
where Cap went bowling.
That's right. Listen, that was really big in the 40s.
Hey, save the Legends of Tomorrow. Come on. We're talking about bowling episodes.
Yeah, that bowling episode was good.
All right. Anyways, go ahead, Todd.
Okay, so the Captain America trilogy is the story arc of the first Avenger. It's brilliant. The first movie is a wonderful period piece that's so much fun, and yet by the end of it, we are catapulted into the modern day, and Cap is, of course, the ultimate fish out of water. The Winter Soldier, one of MCU's greatest films, stands on its own as a political thriller, and still represents this evolution of Cap's character, his trying to figure out where he exists in this new world. And of course, the final and mature storytelling of Civil War, in which we don't get a nice pat, satisfying to children ending. It is a complex, dark, and it's an ending that comes at a cost. And yet we see the strength of Cap's character. He's willing to pay it. He is true to himself. And if anything, by the end of the trilogy, he is the most Cap that you could be.
Okay, Colin, Chuck, Shannon.
As much as I appreciate you trying to anticipate our arguments by calling it a complex and morally gray ending, those first 2 movies are amazing. I love Civil War as a movie, but it does not pay off the trilogy. They know how good this character is. They know how good Chris Evans is. They know the goal they have, and they wait to pay it off all the way to the end of Endgame. And it just means that Cap doesn't get as satisfying a trilogy structure as he could have. The end. Chuck, that's you.
So great movies again, Todd, like you said. However, Civil War is basically the Avengers 2A, and you don't get an ending. I mean, you're left hanging, wanting to know what's going on, because you get the message to Tony, the letter, give me a call. Okay, well, does Tony call him? I don't know. Who am I going to call? What happens to make Tony actually call him? It's not a standalone. You need another movie or
10
2,
seconds.
which Marvel did, to let you know how the trilogy ends. So as a standalone, no, because you're left wanting to know what happens.
Civil War is not a Captain America movie. It's what did you say, Chuck? Avengers 2.A, 2.0. Yeah, it's not.
No, I said
Avengers.
Civil War was
It's
Avengers
not.
2A.
Yes, what Chuck said. I love Civil War. It's not a Captain America movie. I'm sorry. It's not.
All right. So it absolutely does pay off the trilogy because it is about Captain America's evolution as a character. It shows him representing the ideals of America, not our political system. We're not left hanging. We see exactly where he's at. He has rescued his friends because that's who Cap is. The fact that we don't get a nice bow is indicative of its origins. In the comics, the stories always continue. And the ending of Civil War is a perfect comic book ending. Cap will keep fighting.
Fuck,
Todd,
this is-
every year the sophistry really does impress me.
This is really tough. Ay, 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 ay. Shannon, you're out. Because you have to have seen Civil War. Otherwise, it's just this weird jumble of scenes at the beginning, like they said.
Wait, what?
The beginning of Homecoming is the middle part of Civil War from Peter's perspective.
So I'm not gonna lie, I haven't really watched it in a really long time.
So you're doubly out.
I don't remember Far From Home at all.
Well, first of all, we're talking about Homecoming, not wow. You are just keep digging it, Shannon. You're digging the
You
whole.
already
deep
said
You should
I
be
was-
triple out. Triple
You already said
out,
I was out, so
triple
I'm just
out.
gonna admit it all.
just gonna do that. There we go. Anyways,
Folks who are listening to the audio only of this, Chuck in case you just muted Shannon.
as well, he should have. Just blah 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 blah. Yeah, pour some more wine. That's a great idea.
Shannon's pouring wine.
Okay. Man, Colin, Dark World really fucks you over of being a great trilogy. It is a real fucking stinker. It is one I
Would you accept that 1, 3, and 4 will be the best trilogy?
yeah, but we can't ignore it. That's the problem. It's there. It's
Well, we have stretched the definition of trilogy in this particular nerd debate
Yeah,
and
we-
also
so far.
to be
If only
fair,
4 was out so far.
and also I'm kind of nervous.
Come
about
on,
the
I'm
runtime of
confident.
4. I don't know. That runtime makes me nervous. Anyways, so Thor is out, the mighty Asgardian, the only one to get 4 out of this so far out of this grouping. So that leaves the Civil War itself. Chuck, much like Dark World, man, Iron Man 2 sucks. That is a tough one. That is a
I
tough one.
disagree.
Todd,
They managed to wait.
Yes.
Captain America Civil War is Avengers 2.0. And I believe when we did the episode, you said how generous of Cap to have all these other characters come in to his movie, showing
His movie.
Yeah.
His movie.
So it's Todd. You can watch those 3 movies, and Colin, like you said, but no one really balked up against the through line of the Captain America movies is Bucky. It's about Bucky from beginning to end, and he gets Bucky back at the end, sort of. I mean, they put him in carbonite, but that's fine. But anyways, that being said, point goes to Mr. Panic. And with that also, we are going to take a quick break to hear about some other programming on the Night Shift Radio Network.
Is my microphone working? It is. Hello, everyone. My name is Pat Benson, and I'm here to tell you about my new show, Crossed Wires. It's for music lovers, but especially those who are into the tech side of things. Join me as I talk about guitars, electronic instruments and equipment, and conduct gear demonstrations as well as interviews with artists going through their creative process. My first episode, 10 Years is a Decade, is out now. Join in as I try to unravel a mystery that has swept the gear community. It's known as the 10 Years pedal, and I demonstrate it on a guitar, bass, synthesizer, and a drum machine. I even get the help of some of my friends in The Strokes, Paramore, and Josh Scott of GHS Pedals to try to get to the bottom of who makes this elusive pedal. To listen and subscribe to the show, head on over to nsradio/crosswires. That's nsrad.io/crossedwires. All right, that's it. That's what my show's about.
And we're back. All right. So we've got some beer switching happening. Why are we laughing? Like we didn't just spend the last 10 minutes bullshitting and coming back.
What are you
Anyways,
talking about?
so Chuck, what are you drinking now?
Still sticking with I'm your cousin from Boston. We went with Sam Cold Snap, which is a very crisp white ale. It's made with a bunch of spring spices. Very tasty.
I do like Cold Snap.
I've had that. That's nice.
It's a nice beer. Okay, so we got 2 questions left. Time limit's going to be a little longer on these ones. Pretty much what I want from you guys on this, guys and gals. I would like your elevator pitch for the movie version of this. Colin, when we were on break, you mentioned that you went for comic book. We'll just adapt it into a movie after you make the comic book. So perfectly fine. No worries there. So that brings us to question 5, which is take 6 characters from any comic book universe and make your Avengers of Justice. I would like 90 seconds for your pitch. Then it'll be 45 seconds for your arguments and a 45-second rebuttal. We are going to, of course, start with Colin.
So my 6 characters are Super Soldier from Amalgam Comics, Professor Hulk, Polaris, Zatanna, The Flash, Wally West, and Swamp Thing. This is we're covering all the bases here. We've got a magic user, we've got a magnet, a master of magnetism who isn't criminally insane sometimes. We've got a combination of Superman and Captain America. We have the Hulk, but smart, and we have the fastest man alive, and the fastest man alive. And then we have the Swamp Thing, one of the absolute most powerful characters in comics, who is connected to every single bit of plant life on the planet Earth. This is an unbeatable super team.
Are you
I
yielding
yield
the
the
rest
rest
of
of my time.
There we go. Okay, 45 seconds from Chuck, then Shannon, then Todd.
If I'm not mistaken, isn't the Super Soldier just Clark Kent? So we've got Superman. Because I'm not familiar with a lot of these guys, but I think he's Superman. So we got Superman as one of the guys.
Pause
And
time.
damn it,
Hang on, pause time. He is Amalgam Comics is DC and Marvel put together. So it is Superman, it is Clark Kent and Steve Rogers put together.
He's
That's-
a human.
yeah,
He's a human Clark Kent who is injected with Kryptonian DNA as part of a super soldier project, and takes on all the best characteristics of both Superman and Captain
Not supporting
America.
Colin's pitch. The Amalgam comics are a lot of fun to read. So like there's a Batman Wolverine mashup.
Dark Claw.
Dark Claw.
Dark
Mhm.
Claw.
All right. Sorry. Go ahead, Chuck. Go back into your time.
I'm at a complete disadvantage here because the only guy that I know is Swamp Thing, and I just remember that the movie was horrible, except for the fact that it had Adrian Barbeau in it. But other than that, I admit I didn't do my homework on this for a rebuttal, so I'm just going to pass my time. I got nothing.
Okay. That moves us to Shannon.
Okay, so I always thought of Swamp Thing as being a bad guy and kind of gross. So I don't know why you would want him at all. Polaris does like a ton of damage all the time. She's kind of crazy, isn't she? Like the crazy girl with the green stuff, and she like blurts stuff. She's kind of damaging. Professor Hulk, like that's okay, I guess. The Amalgam guy sounds kind of cool, but I feel like these guys, they could do a lot more damage than anything else. Flash is okay. I mean, he's kind of goofy, but I think that I don't know what you're going to do with all these guys. I don't know who I mean, maybe you're going to save some people. I feel like you're going to do a lot of crashing and blowing stuff up. I don't really know who Zatanna is.
Time's up.
So Zatanna is a magic user in the DC universe.
Oh,
She wears fishnet stockings and looks like a little
that's
bit of a
great.
sexy.
Yeah, that's
female
great, Colin.
magician.
That's a great
Look,
idea.
her costume isn't the best, but she's still a
Yeah.
very powerful magician.
Yep. In fact, I think I looked at her and that's the reason I passed.
No, her
So-
shtick is, the shtick is that she's an incredibly
care.
powerful magic user
Yeah.
who masquerades as a stage musician.
Yeah, that's a
magician.
bat.
Okay.
That's great.
So
Yeah.
it's time for Todd's.
Yeah, to just so Colin, you put together an interesting lineup. I don't see anything cohesive. I don't see any connective tissue across them. So I'm not saying I wouldn't watch it, but you haven't given me a compelling reason yet why this group is going to work together. And I think it's about the connection of the group and how they fit together, which is really the key to this question.
Okay, 45-second rebuttal, Colin.
You mean connective tissue like them all being Marvel characters, Todd? Polaris has had her share of mental issues, but no more than any other X-Men, and she's way less crazy than her father, Magneto. The Flash is one of them absolutely most power. I went for power here, right? I went for world and cosmic level threats. Avengers of Justice. That's what you want to put a team together for. And this is the team that can meet it. It can cover all the bases. You got your magic, magnets, speed, power over all of plant life. These are incredibly powerful characters. Wally West is the best Flash, and he's not goofy. He's the Flash. And then Professor Hulk, you've got all the strength, and you've got basically who I think should probably be the team leader.
Okay. That moves us to Chuck's picks. 90 seconds, Chuck.
So I went with Green Scar Hulk, X-23, The Comedian, Midnighter, Michonne, and Deadpool. I'm going to admit to that I went with straight and pure utter violence here. So this is kind of like my version of the Suicide Squad. I realize that timing isn't great. However, off we go. X-23, she's basically a batter-asser version of Wolverine. Claws everywhere. She's got all the same powers, and she's also considered immortal. Green Scar Hulk, who is one step down from actually being World Breaker Hulk. So he has got stronger and more powerful, and is basically a lighter version of Professor Hulk. Midnighter, he's done some things with a jackhammer that I would care not to speak about. That just speaks of pure utter violence. The Comedian, we all know what he did. Basically shot his pregnant girlfriend in the face. Michonne, as I would pick as being the leader. Deadly with the katana. She's, as we've seen in the comics and in the show specifically, she was able to lead
15 seconds.
her people against the governor and whatnot. And then Deadpool, let's face it, we know what his skills are. Expert in just about everything and comic relief. So there we go. These guys are going to make a great movie.
Okay, Colin, Shannon, Todd.
I don't see them taking on world level threats. I think it's just too much grim, dark violence. I don't want the Comedian near anything that's designed to save anything. The Comedian is the villain. And I just don't, if you, the only one here who's going to take on, Avengers and JLA type level world threats is the Scar Hulk, and he's basically out there alone while everybody else is trying to stab things. So I just it'd be an interesting book, but it's not an Avengers of Justice. It's like it's you said it's more like Suicide Squad.
Okay, Shannon.
Okay. Okay, here's what's going to happen. Michonne is going to freaking kill all of them. And that's going to be the end of them because they're horrible. These guys are horrible people. She's going to kill the Comedian and Midnighter and Deadpool. And then the other three might be able to handle something. These guys are so mean. Why'd you pick these guys? They're so mean. I don't like any of them. I like Michonne. That's it. I'm really happy you picked Michonne. I had not considered that. That was a really cool pick. Everything else, no. Shock. Shame on you.
You got a finger wag from Shannon. Very similar. I think there's some interesting choices there, but again, I think much like Collins, I'm not seeing this kind of connectivity between them. So for me, interesting, but boy, you'd have to prove it on the back end that this was the team I wanted to watch. Other than the curiosity factor, like there's nothing compelling about that lineup for me. That's it.
Okay, 45-second rebuttal.
So that's why I went with it. I wanted something different. I mean, we've seen the rosy colored, the Avengers. We've seen, a mishmash group of people for Suicide Squad. So I tried to go more along the Suicide Squad, but like I said, pure violence. I mean, it's obviously it's not going to be for everybody, but they are all comic book characters. They are all have a following, and we haven't seen. I mean, Deadpool and Wolverine, or I'm sorry, Logan have shown that there is an audience for violence. These guys are violent. That's where I
10
was
seconds.
going at. I'm going for the pitch of a violent superhero movie, and done.
Okay, that moves us to Shannon.
Okay, so this is my group. I picked a bunch of people that I knew would be able to work together and not destroy each other. And I picked a group that each would have a job to do. And so I picked Storm because she's my favorite. And she's clearly the leader. She's the best there is. She's a goddess. She can fly. I picked Shuri because I wanted to have a scientist on the team. I also I found out there was a connection between Storm and T'Challa, which I didn't know that there was. I didn't know they were married at some point in the comic. So that was something I just recently discovered. I also picked Wonder Woman because I wanted somebody with like close to like godlike ability and strength. I picked Elastigirl from The Incredibles because she's like my mom figure and she's super versatile. I picked Zephyr from, her name's Faith from the Valiant comics. I'd never heard of her before. I liked having another flyer besides Storm. I like that she uses her superpowers to shield people. She's just like this bubble of goodness and kindness. And I've never heard of an overweight superhero before. So I'm stunned. I just think that's the most inspiring thing that I've ever heard. And I picked Squirrel Girl, which I thought was the stupidest thing I'd ever heard until I started reading about her. She's constantly pursuing non-violent solutions. She befriends villains and she helps them turn their lives around. It's amazing. It's the best role model ever. And she babysits. She has a surprising amount of incredibly useful abilities and she can be Iron Man.
Okay. Colin, Chuck, Todd.
I thought of this as a pitch for an ongoing comic series. So I'm not certain that a lack of intergroup conflict is really what we want here. We want that soap opera aspect that you get out of a teen book where there are recurring, resolvable, not psychotic, Chuck, conflicts. What do these people do when the magic comes? They all go down. They got no magic user. It's a cool team in a lot of ways, but there's, I don't feel like you covered as many bases in terms of a wide-ranging power set. You mentioned 3 times how somebody flies. Flying is more or less the walking of the superhero world. Most of them fly. I just don't feel like it's that special.
So the only thing special that I found out of this is, I love Wonder Woman, I love Shuri, and I love Storm. It's not to sign masochist, but I think you need to have a couple of guys in here. I have no problem with any of these women, but I do think that you need to have the other aspect of the thought process of how to go about solving problems, because we all know that men and women think entirely differently, and without having another guy or a guy or two there to give the opposite side of
10
an
seconds.
argument or a problem, I think you're going to have a bunch of girls not agreeing with each other at one point.
Time's up.
I hear Chuck acknowledge his statements. Did Chuck
Did
just
not identify
basically say that their menstrual cycles were all going to sink? I think that was that the next 10 seconds of the argument.
Wow, I was not even going there, but
I
thank
got
you,
nothing.
Mr.
Yeah.
Condescending Todd.
I love this event every year. I look forward to this. I got nothing.
Okay, well that leads to Todd. What's your Avengers of Justice?
Wait, no,
sorry.
I have a lot to say.
Well, you
These are all-
got
some
45
rebuts.
seconds to do it.
You guys are jerks. Okay. So I purposely picked all ladies because I did want an all-female team, but I also was looking to find a group who I thought would work well together. I did not think there would be any arguments with this group. I wanted them mostly to protect people and not make a big mess out of everything, which I am positive Chuck's team is going to do. So there. I definitely thought very carefully about how these 6 would work together. Yeah, you're right. I don't have a magic user on there, but I'm pretty sure he can invent anything that we need. No, I only have 2 flyers, Colin, not 3. So 9, 8, 7, 6. And again, I was making pretty sure that these guys would all work really well together. No, there's not 3, Colin. What are you talking about?
Post-crisis Wonder Woman can fly.
I think she jumps really high. I don't really think she's
Post-crisis Wonder Woman can fly.
okay.
She
all
can
right.
fly.
She flies.
She flies.
I don't have like the level of comic book, like
She flew in Wonder Woman
No
1984.
comment.
Yeah,
she
she
really
did.
like
She did.
really.
That's
You feel
true.
like that's a flying thing? All right, I'll let you go on that.
Wait,
Wait,
what
no,
you're
she-
gonna-
wait. Didn't she lasso the storm clouds?
No, she
The question
flew
was,
at one point.
guys. The question was comic book universe.
Okay.
Wonder
all right,
Woman has
fair.
flown in
Okay.
comic books
All
since
right.
1987.
Got it.
That's cool.
Fair.
That's awesome. I'll take that.
Okay. On that note, Todd, go ahead.
Okay, so my theme from my critiques of the earlier teams is that you have to have that connective tissue. The team should mean something when you stand them up together. So my team starts out, C is for Captain America. Steve Rogers is, of course, the all-time greatest leader of the Avengers. Who else would be at the helm? He is universally recognized as the greatest leader of the Avengers. A is for Adam Warlock. You need that cosmic level hero. He is at times one of the most powerful heroes in the comic book universe. Can't wait to see what we get in Guardians 3. P is for Peter Parker, aka the Amazing Spider-Man, bringing the earnestness and the exuberance of youth into the role, bringing this hope and optimism. T is for Thor. It's Walt Simonson's Thor in the 616 run. This is the Thor who fights Curse and the Dark Elves and Surtur. This is the Thor we want. N is for Namor, Marvel's original anti-hero, bringing a dark edge, an element of unpredictability to the role. And finally, A is for Ant-Man, a little bit of comic relief, a little bit of stealth and subterfuge, and of course, it's Scott. Our favorite Iron Man, Ant-Man. So CAPTNA, Captain A is the best team. Yes.
So mad, I just realized you did that.
I if you look at my email responses, I was basically giving it away. I think actually at one point, I think in one of my responses to the whole group was, "Do I have to spell it out for you?"
Oh boy. So is it my turn to rebut this?
Yeah, please
Yes,
get
go
to
ahead.
it.
There's acrostic of joy. First of all, it's an acrostic. Second of all, it's all Marvel. What's the point of answering a question about taking people from any comic book universe and making them all from the same comic book universe? Third of all, I just realized this. Shannon set out to do all women, which wasn't anything I had a problem with. I had other objections to her team. Todd, did you set out to do all dudes? Because you sure did. All dudes. All dudes. In fact, all except for Namor, white dudes. So it's, I just and again, like, I just don't feel like you answered the question. You created a Marvel super team, which, might be an interesting Marvel super team, but doesn't cross universes.
And to piggyback on that, haven't we already seen all these 23 Marvel movies? Is there 0 points for originality? I'm thinking because wait, 1, 2, 3. Oh, there's 4 guys out of the 6 that we've already seen 26 movies on. Yeah, because wait, I've already seen that. No, I've already seen that. Oh wait, I've already seen that. I muted on purpose for effect. I've already seen this. It's nothing. What's original here? Come on. 0 points.
10 seconds.
I think he's yielding his time.
I don't think I have anything left. They've pretty much covered it. There's an all boy team. I was gonna say that. And isn't I don't know, I feel like Adam Warlock's like a Doctor Strange alike kind of guy, and Namor sounds like an Aquaman alike kind of guy. So I thought maybe you picked them for that reason.
Technically, Namor was first.
Oh, all right. Still. So yeah, we've definitely seen everybody on this list. If that's the case, then I feel really bad being mean to Todd. Sorry.
No, that's okay. That's all right. No, that's no.
Now, if you'd
attacked you
actually
right
used
off, that's great.
Aquaman, on the other hand,
Yeah. No. So Colin, you raise an interesting point. And if only the question was assemble your most diverse or most cross-universe team, then yes, my response would fall short. But of course, that was not the requirement. It was just take 6 characters for any comic book universe to make your Avengers of Justice. Adam Warlock is not a white guy. He is actually a golden guy. So that doesn't apply. This is very consistent with many of the best eras of the Avenger comics, in which you take this diverse team of heroes with very different skill sets, power levels, and perspectives, and you mash it up into something greater than the whole. So this is a team I can't wait to see. Captain A.
That whole time I was just watching Chuck just mumble away. That was great. Todd, you're out.
How dare you? Listen, I did the only thing original with this.
Was he ever in? Was he ever?
No.
You're all jealous. You're all jealous.
All right, everybody shut up. It's the first and only time I've had to say that tonight. I'm proud of you all. No, because Todd, what can you read me the question?
Take 6 characters for any comic book universe to make
Hey,
your
there we go. And you chose all Marvel. Boring. You could have chosen Aquaman.
Why would I do that? Aquaman is boring compared to Namor.
Because then you're bringing someone from a different universe. He's a king. It would have been. You could have done all kinds of great.
You didn't say.
No, I said you wanted to spell out Captain
universes.
A. So I did.
Stop arguing, Todd. Listen to the judge.
Don't make Casey put it in the form of an acrostic.
Okay.
Sorry.
Shannon.
What?
Look.
Don't even.
I love your team. But
Come on,
the
it's
problem
really
was
cute.
you called Squirrel Girl stupid.
It was. I said it was stupid, and it's not stupid anymore because now I know more about her.
You didn't know
she
who
defeat the
Zephyr
whole
was.
Marvel
I
universe?
didn't until now. I did research, and now I know who she is.
Yeah.
That's
well,
amazing.
well,
Did you read
I
any
think
of them?
you should be. No. Well, when was I gonna have time?
Nah.
well, you're still.
That means
out.
that would require me to go to a store.
I'm gonna mute you again because you just don't shut up when I say stop. So, Colin and Chuck.
I feel we've been here before.
Chuck, they really took you down with the Suicide Squad. And in my head, when you mentioned the comedian and what he did, Deadpool's gonna kill him right off the bat. Like, that's Deadpool's thing, taking out bad guys like that. Like, yeah, Deadpool's not an awesome guy, but he's gonna kill. Like, he's gonna be like, oh, what did you do? Slice, dead. Cool
I brought
team.
up the Suicide Squad team.
Yeah, you did too. Yes, but so did everyone else on the call.
Yeah, but they fall piggyback. I made that part of my original argument.
But
was
it's
that I wanted a.
but I wanted
Suicide
the
Squad team.
Avengers of Justice, not the Suicide Squad of Chaos.
Tomato,
Thunderbolting.
tomato.
The Thunder.
Now we're splitting hairs.
The Thunder, the Suicide Thunders.
Oh. So that means, in
I
case
think I
you
made my point.
haven't been paying attention, Colin gets the point here. He has the most diverse over a bunch of different comic book universes. And yeah, this team could probably kick the shit out of the rest of these teams pretty good.
I was.
Todd, I don't
knew
want to see
I
that
was risking
face.
it.
I don't want to see that face. How dare you? Okay.
Everybody
so-
raise your hand and tell me who your magic user is.
Adam
You
War-
know what? You're not
Thor-
wrong. You're not wrong.
Thor. He
Todd,
fixed
you
it.
still lost points for an originality.
Also, no joke.
Are you?
Just want to say, in a momentary defense of Zatanna's fishnets. They began as exploitative and for the last 20 or 30 years have been played as empowering. Zatanna
Okay,
is a really
fair.
cool character.
I'll
I
applaud that.
considered her for a second.
Yeah, she's pretty awesome, actually.
Yeah,
I
she's
had to
pretty
look
great.
all this crap up, you
And-
guys.
And I feel like all of you are totally disregarding the creativity of connecting the
not.
team. Yeah.
There's
I
no
think-
creativity there, Todd. You just made the Avengers.
You guys,
Todd, congratulations. You can spell.
You muted me, you son of a bitch.
Sure did. Because I also, as I think the only dyslexic on this call, I really enjoy if you read Zatanna's spells in the comics,
Yes.
they're backwards. So I'm always like, I got this. I can read this. This is no problem. So yeah,
You're on equal footing.
yeah. I'm like, oh, I can do this. This is easy.
Colin, you're
Matilda, not so much.
Colin, you're not wrong. I had like I don't know what I did. I had a magic user in there and then I forgot. I don't know what I did. I
Mm.
You should have put Zatanna in for Zephyr, and it would have been
No,
pretty-
she's an overweight superhero. I think
no,
that's
no,
the
no.
most-
She is a
How
cool
is
character.
that?
Yeah, she
I've
is
never
a cool
seen anything
character.
like that before.
Herding cats. I'm herding.
Listen, you
cats.
shut up.
What
You
was
fed
that,
the
Shannon?
cat's beer. What
What'd
did
you
you
say?
think?
Wait, Shannon, what did you say? Oh, it's your thing. Okay, great. Anyways, last question.
Shut up.
Last second decision. There's not going to be any argument or rebuttal. 90 seconds to give me your elevator pitch, because that's all I'm going to need for this one, I think. Because pretty much with this one, you're just going to be saying, well, mine's better because of this. It doesn't make any sense in the long run. I just need your pitch. I want passion. I want enthusiasm. I want you to want me to go see this thing right now, which leads us to our final question of the evening, which is pitch your best what if story. And it goes Colin, Chuck, Shannon,
Yep.
Todd. What?
One question. So for our less comically astute listeners, do we want to explain really quickly what if is? I don't want to assume that everyone knows.
What if is alternate universes, sometimes taking stories and changing what they are. It's literally kind of in the title. What if this happened? Okay. Everybody got that?
I'm pretty sure they'll figure it out when we give what the title of our new story is going to be.
It's fair.
All right. Easy there, Chuckles. All right.
Chuckles.
Just saying.
Wow. Okay. And go.
So mine is actually not a what if. It's an Elseworlds, which is DC's version of what if. Elseworlds, World of the Supermen. 10 years after Superman fell in battle against Doomsday, Kal-El has never returned. Hank Henshaw rules all of North America west of the Mississippi as his cyborg kingdom, while John Henry Irons attempts to protect the rest of the world in the name of the fallen Superman, while maintaining an uneasy alliance with an increasingly unstable Eradicator, a Con-El struggling to come to terms with his destiny, and President Lex Luthor. It's a sequel and a reimagining to one of the biggest comic book events of all time. It takes 4 characters who took the world by storm in 1992 and reimagines them in exciting and different ways. It has the scope of the whole world because the world has been transformed by the fact that Superman never comes back. John Henry Irons is one of the great characters. Con-El is one of the great characters. We get to see Con-El move into manhood while John Henry Irons cedes the mantle of the true Superman to him as they finally take down Hank Henshaw, the evil cyborg Superman.
So pretty much the what if for this, before we continue, would be what if Superman really died?
Yeah, what if he doesn't come back? With
Yeah,
the
what if
very
he actually
specific
died?
confluence of events
Yeah. Okay.
is that he never resuscitates and saves, and defeats Henshaw.
Gotcha. Okay.
I feel like
Chucklefuck.
I've just broke Shannon.
Chucklefuck, it's your turn.
All right. So I went with what if the Winter Soldier didn't kill the Starks? Mike, these are going to be cliff notes basically, so it's a working story. But first and foremost, we're not going to get Iron Man right off the bat. With Howard Stark still alive, Tony's probably not going to take over the company just yet. When he does, and he probably isn't going to go to the desert to sell his weaponry, and Obadiah Stane isn't going to put a hit on him. So none of this is going to happen. So Iron Man is probably not going to be made here. If we go with the chronological order of the events of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the Avengers might not form because Tony isn't there to give him the push. Although we know that Nick Fury, Shield, Hydra, Captain America, Captain Marvel, and Bruce Banner are all still there. So there's still a team to work for, but Tony is actually kind of that guy that pushes it a little bit further in because he's there. Without Tony present at the Battle of New York City, should that take place, the nuke ends up blowing New York, or does it? Tony's not there to push it up into the up through the wormhole. We don't know if Thor is actually going to be there to do this. If that's the case, where does the scepter end up? Because now with this, the scepter is there. Thor, we already know, takes it, and they go back to Asgard. So we know where the scepter is. Should the nuke blow up New York, where does the scepter end up, and where do we know where this goes?
10 seconds.
There's a good chance Ultron's never created. If he's not created, Slovakia isn't destroyed. If Slovakia isn't destroyed, Zemo has no vengeance. And then if we have no Zemo, how does we have Civil
Time's
War?
up.
And shit.
Sokovia. Just point of order. It's Sokovia, not.
What did I say?
Slovakia. Real. Like.
Well, I was Russian. I didn't realize I had used that much fucking time. Fuck.
Wait, no, Slovakia is not in Russian.
Yeah, I was gonna let it slide, but one of us
recycle joke from studying Chekhov in undergraduate. Everybody, you're all Russian. Yeah, we're all Russian.
Oh God, please stop. Shannon, your turn.
So much more.
All right, so Black Widow lives, Hawkeye dies. So I've seen what happens when Hawkeye is alive. He loses his hearing, and we get a pretty decent Disney Plus show with Kate Bishop where Yelena shows up. Yay, because we love Yelena. But I'm thinking we could pretty much get all of that and more if Clint dies and Natasha lives. Plus, Natasha probably ends up as leader of the Avengers since she was pretty much in charge during the blip anyway. So maybe we don't have to put up with that like half-assed attempt at a Black Widow movie. We just introduce Yelena in another way, like Yelena and Natasha show. Clint can come back in like a few memory shots. Natasha can take the Barton kids to a Broadway show during Christmas, so we can still see that hilarious show. Kate Bishop's still inspired by that fantastic leap off of the building she saw Clint do, and the writers just have to find a way to work around Hawkeye being out of the show, and they just team up Kate and Yelena earlier. I feel like all around this is a win-win situation.
Okay. Dot.
All right. So appreciate Colin embracing the spirit of what if. That's exactly what I did. So my what if takes place in the Star Wars universe. And my question is, what if Luke went to the Imperial Academy? So we're on Tatooine. We have a young, earnest Luke Skywalker, eager to answer this call to greatness that he feels compelled to follow. He makes it to the Imperial Academy. His natural abilities and force sensitivity quickly allows him to rise through the ranks, where he becomes a star student and attracts the attention of both Darth Vader and the Empire. At the same time, Princess Leia on Alderaan, fully immersed in the Rebel Alliance, goes to find her old friend and protector, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Recognizing her place in the universe today, Obi-Wan mentors her. And as Luke becomes the Dark Apprentice, quickly surpassing Darth Vader as the Emperor's chosen one, Princess Leia comes into her own as a Jedi. The conflict now becomes not father and son, Vader and Luke, but Leia and Luke, brother and sister. And Vader breaks his alliance to the dark side, protecting his daughter, killing Luke, and defeating the Emperor.
Time's up.
Bam. And I just want to say, for the record, these are all great pitches. I want to see all of these stories made.
That was exactly what I was going to say.
I didn't even get all of mine in.
Oh, shut up, Chuck.
No, I'm just saying.
You know,
Todd,
Todd, there actually was a what if Star Wars.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what it was called.
I can't remember what it was called, but
awesome. That was awesome.
And
I'll be honest.
One.
Todd's to me was what I thought Rey and Kylo Ren were going to be. That's what I thought the plot of
yeah.
those shows
That
were
would've
going to be when it
would've
first
been a
started. I was
better
like, they're
movie.
going to be brother
Yeah.
and sister. But then
No, she's freaking Palpatine. Whatever.
Oh my God, please
Eh.
don't. I don't want to talk about Rise of Skywalker.
Let's
ever.
just all discuss the Last Jedi. That always goes well.
I love the Last Jedi.
I love the Last Jedi.
It's the best of the new
Get
trilogy.
out. All of
I
you
would
get
agree.
out.
I would agree. Last
Okay.
Jedi was good.
Hold on.
I just didn't want her to be a Palpatine. That's all.
Well, it doesn't happen in Last Jedi, so we can still like Last Jedi.
Oh, sorry.
I can't
I know.
believe
Sorry.
people-
I get them all mixed up. I don't care.
Okay. Anyways, oh boy. So yeah, on that point, I feel like one of the what Colin brought up was that there are these comics, and one of them is like in Empire when Han saves Luke, instead of Luke surviving, Luke dies, and then it's like this whole like what happens now. They did
Han has to go study the Force or something, but then
it's something
it turns out
crazy.
to be Leia, and I forget what
Mine's
it was.
better.
Yeah,
Mine's better.
But
yeah.
But I feel like they may have done it. I think one of them is but you didn't know that, so I got questions. Are these live action or animated? Everyone.
Live.
Live.
Mine was a comic book. I thought we were pitching a comic book, but I guess you would probably wind up, considering there's no live action equivalent of most of those characters, you would probably wind up doing one of the DC universe films or one or two, you know.
Okay.
But yeah, I was pitching a comic book.
That's
Sorry,
right.
or really
So animated.
like a mini series.
So animated.
Yeah, probably
Yeah.
animated.
Chuck?
Well, I think I would looking at mine more along as a movie. There might be enough because I didn't get all of it in. There might be enough here for an actual trilogy.
But live action or animated?
No, live action.
Live action. Okay.
Well, listen, I don't want this to sway your opinion, but after you rule, I want to hear the end of Chuck's pitch because
Yeah,
I'm gonna wait.
yeah.
I'm gonna wait. Yeah, I'll let you know.
So Shannon.
Yeah.
So Clint dies, which I'm fine with,
Yeah, I knew you would be.
because quite honestly, the man was a mass murderer during the blip, and then everyone's just like, yeah, it's fine, come back into the fold. Kind of
but
fucked
they
up.
were all really bad.
Yeah. So how does Yelena end up there though if her sister doesn't die?
Yeah, well, that's why I said like so we would have to figure that out. I didn't quite go all the way.
He
to
still
that.
hasn't. She wants mac and cheese.
Obviously, I
She
think
does-
that it ends
Who
up being.
doesn't?
I think it has to somehow end up being the Yelena Kate show, but I'm not sure why that she would be there.
Okay.
I think that Natasha ends up starting the show, but I think there would have to be a reason Yelena would be there. I love the I don't want to lose like the Kate Bishop Yelena like rivalry
Sure.
in the beginning, so
Sure.
there's got to be, it can't be just a buddy show. There's got to be some reason that she's there
Okay.
to begin with.
Todd, how close does Luke get to Vader?
I think Vader finds him first. Like Emperor's not looking at the classes at the academy. I think Vader is aware of him, and Luke quickly surpasses him. So first we have like the draw of like the jealousy of Vader, but then it quickly becomes like the protection of his daughter.
Okay. So potentially Chuck in yours, New York explodes. Yeah.
Quite possibly, yes.
Okay. That's dark, man. But hey, I mean, it kind of shows us. I mean, that's what all the what if you were the closest storytelling to the actual what if animated series. Like if this one piece gets moved, crazy shit happens.
Yeah, even
That's
in the
legit
comics,
where I was going.
Yeah. Even in the comics, it's the same way.
what ifs are rarely like, oh, this is a better, happier ending.
Yeah, they're never happy. They're
Yeah.
never
Yeah.
happy.
It is a Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
Nice try,
Yeah.
asshole, all the way down.
Yep.
Yeah, it is pretty
They're all monkey paws, right? Like it's
Yeah,
all
yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh yeah, this will be better. No, it's not. What if Uncle Ben doesn't die? Is a horrible outcome for Peter.
And like I went with Elseworlds, and sometimes Elseworlds are literally just like Batman in the Victorian era. So it's less of a point of divergence. But the one I was specifically thinking about is, there's a great Elseworlds miniseries called JLA the Nail.
No.
The phrase "for want of a nail, the horse for want of,"
Yeah.
a nail blows out Pa Kent's tire, and they never find Kal-El. And that's the point of divergence.
Yeah.
It's so
Again,
I was thinking about, you take this one thing out, and there are plenty of Elseworld stories that go like that.
Yeah. Every one of these pitches, I'm stunned. I gotta be honest with you. I don't think I've ever been more impressed with any answer any year than this question this year. Man, I want.
Gosh, it's almost like the guy who has to judge and figure out who the winner is right now is fucked.
Good luck figuring that one out. Yeah. Can we also get? Wait!
Shut up, Todd. Shut up.
Okay. Yeah, but before you,
I have a question for Colin. No, I have a question for Colin before I give the answer. In the Reign of Superman, which was a great comic series, Hal Jordan is a pretty big part of that.
Yes.
Is it the same idea? Coast City is destroyed. He seeks revenge on the cyborg Superman.
He seeks revenge on the cyborg Superman, but without Kal-El and Con-El and John Henry Irons backing him up. We don't get Emerald Twilight. We just get the death of Hal Jordan at the hands of Mongol and Hank Henshaw. And that's how I could actually see Kyle Rayner being a supporting character here, coming in as Earth's new, but we don't get the whole Emerald Twilight fallout or any of that, the corruption. We just get the death of Hal Jordan.
Fuck. Okay. Nobody wins. No, I'm just kidding. Jesus Christ.
Wait, before you answer, I do think there's a fair point here. Michael is a movie producer. Can we get that informed perspective?
Yeah. Hey, Michael, of these, pick two that you would greenlight.
So this is really tough. And as much as I love all of these creatively, all of these I think great. I think the stories would be really cool. But I look at it from a marketing perspective, right? Like what's actually going to sell. Listen, Star Wars has ridden the coattails of Skywalker for fucking 40 years now. They're gonna do
literally its entire existence.
It's the entire existence is just around the Skywalkers, but it sells. Obviously, people still dig it. I think there's something to that story of a Luke and Leia showdown, as opposed to Luke and Darth. I know you don't get the redemption of Anakin, which is, arguably, as Todd had said earlier, is arguably probably the best part of that Star Wars trilogy is the Anakin kind of redemption arc. I think there's still something there. But outside of that, I think the world needs a good Superman story. And I don't think we have one. And I think DC is really struggling with Superman lately. And I would love to see them push that one. So my two toss-ups are between Colin and Todd. I love Chuck's. I think that should be a what if cartoon. I think that we should actually see that. And I think I'm gonna go on a limb and say odds are we're gonna see it. Like I feel like that's really gonna happen in the what if cartoon series. And for Shannon's, I agree. I mean, everyone agrees Clint should have died instead of Natasha. It made more sense, I guess. I don't know. They're just kind of leaned in on the family man thing. But I really feel like that should have been what happened. Not a what if, that's a should have.
I believe they shot it both ways, and they did not know which way they were going to do it until reshoots.
Did
well,
they really?
They got it wrong.
Yeah.
He sure did. It's Colin. I want to see that. I want to see that so bad. I want to see Superman. I want to see the rise of Con-El and a true beacon of light Superman, which I love Zack Snyder's vision of Superman. And I think, unfortunately, certain people on this call can't get into what I'm about to say, but I feel like, it kind of got kneecapped but I think he had that redemption and beacon of light coming for Superman. They just stopped making Zack Snyder's movies. But I think yeah, that's what I want. I want the redemption. I want Superboy to become Superman. So with that, Colin Ryan is our champion this year. And as it was last year,
that's about damn time.
Colin gets the choice of our movie for season 6.
Wow.
And he also gets a guest spot if he's available.
Poseidon Adventure, Poseidon.
I'm sorry, you're breaking up. I'm sorry.
I just don't understand. Can someone explain to me?
He
How
was
does
joking.
Casey
He
said,
was joking.
Oh.
I was joking. It was like, what movies haven't we done? And so I said, one, the Poseidon Adventure, which literally was just like the first random movie that came to my head. And then it was just fun to keep writing things about the Poseidon Adventure until Casey
Shelley Winters and the Black Widow
until I got to until I got to the Shelley Winters soldier, which is just
See, Michael, what happens is this.
I feel like we need to put Michael in the chat.
I work during the day. I work. And these bozos.
Yeah, I feel like actually that's a great idea. I think Michael, this is the second year he's put up with us. I feel like Michael's earned a spot in the 5 Timers Club chat.
I agree.
I love how you assume that's automatically a reward.
Yeah, you might regret this,
like Michael, right? Because I don't think
I know, right?
Michael, how do you feel about 50 gifts at a time?
Yeah, if this only makes it like 94 gifts before I like actually tune in and find out more Poseidon Adventure shit, I'm gonna be pissed.
We make it a point to try and get as many conversation gifts in there before Shannon jumps on, just so she has a straight out stroke.
Yeah, she's just like, Jesus Christ, guys.
God damn it. I turn away for 10 minutes. Yeah.
Questions.
All right. With that, Colin, what is your choice?
I feel like after having spent probably a solid hour of airtime across this entire podcast, bullying you into putting this into the helmet,
you motherfucker,
that it's gotta be Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
God damn it.
Yeah. Wait. But the but if we accept this, then we have to do the movie, not the series. And that's not the one to watch. Oh,
it has its moments. But you know what? Can
I go on record before we say anything else?
It's not as good as the
series.
So
does Explosive Diarrhea.
It's not as good as the series, but there's plenty to talk about in that movie. It'll be an interesting episode.
The bad movies are always the
Paul
funnest.
Rubin's death scene is the best reason to watch that movie.
Rutger Hauer as the villain. It's a pretty good movie. There. Look, guys, I toyed with making you do Powerpuff Girls, which is the other one I've been bullying you into putting in there. So
we accept Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
yeah, there you go.
Also, it has.
Remind me though, is Powerpuff Girls in the helmet now?
It is.
Of course.
Yeah, of course. There's no argument that it's a superhero film.
I don't think Buffy should be, but I hear you. But Powerpuff Girls, absolutely.
Well, not only are there vampires in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, there is a Batman in Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
What?
Yeah. Well, when we watch it, we'll talk about it.
I was going to say we can
and the Penguin's dad.
Watch the movie.
And the
Penguin's dad. Yes. So there's my favorite.
Buffy's definitely a superhero, guys. Come on.
Yeah, she is.
Listen, I do enjoy. What's the name of it? So Joss Whedon wrote. Somebody else drew the. What was that? It was like a
Buffy season 8.
No, it was like an Elseworlds Buffy, but it was the Slayer in a different universe.
Oh no, you're thinking of Frey, which is a Slayer in the far future.
Yes, but it's just yeah. And that that
was a good series.
That's a good series. Yeah. Okay.
Michael sent his first GIF. I see this. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, there he is.
There he is.
The GIF starts.
Wait, are we in? Shit, I'm behind already.
Yeah, I know. Come yell at us about the GIF.
Okay. Right. But before we do any of that, we should say goodbye to everyone still listening and watching.
Nobody's still listening and watching. Come on.
Thank you all for once again competing. This was one of the toughest years. Your answers were amazing this year. Who left?
No, I'm
We'll
back.
never
Sorry,
see you
sorry.
coming. Ta-da!
Or leaving.
I'm sorry. How did you say that? Excuse me.
What?
I need you to
Never see me coming.
All right, whatever. More unoriginality from Todd.
Wow, holy shit.
First
so
of all, how dare you?
okay. Let's go around and give some social creds if we'd like to. Anyone not want to say anything about their social creds? Great. Okay. Michael, you can go first because you are put up with this bullshit for your second year in a row.
Oh my God.
So, obviously twitter.com/nightshiftmg, Night Shift Media Group. Check out all the brand new shows. We just launched a brand new show just last month by the time you're listening to this, called Crossed Wires. And we have another one on the way, Ultimate Flowchart of Sitcoms. So twitter.com/nightshiftmg or nightshiftradio.com.
Chuckles.
I am Chucker413 on both Instagram and Twitter. I don't do a lot of tweeting. I mostly just follow. But Instagram, you can find a lot of dad jokes. But yeah, I am Chucker413.
Shan.
Yeah, I'm Shanny Cumpins on Instagram, and
Better spell that.
you can figure it out. I'm also going to be appearing at the Museum of Intrigue in Destiny Mall on June 25th for a book signing from 2 to 6
That's right.
p.m.
Shannon wrote a
Hey.
book. Shannon, what's the title of your book?
Plug your book, damn it.
Yeah,
I'm
go
trying.
find it.
It's called
Throw it out there.
It's called The Exiles of Tierlock. It's on Amazon. If you look up my name, it's easier to find it that way. Because the title's a little long.
Colin, what do you got for socials?
So you can find me personally at Roll of Colin Ryan on Twitter. You can find me on Facebook, but I won't see it. And but you should also check out the podcast I do with Casey and our mother, which is also right here on the Night Shift Radio. And that's Where No Mom Has Gone Before. And you can find that wherever you catch your podcasts in Subspace. We review all of the 13 Star Trek movies with our mom. It's a good time. And you can find, I think, well, it is.
It's a good time reviewing it. Sometimes watching the movies, not so much.
Is she listening to this?
very-
Holy shnikes.
No, she's not.
She's definitely not listening to this. No.
If she started it, she didn't finish
Let's
it.
be fair. We didn't curse a lot, so she might have stayed with
It's
it.
true.
But you can
That's
find
bullshit.
that. Yeah, fuck yeah. But the handle for that on Twitter is at Where No Mom Pod.
That's right. And Todd, what you got?
Yeah, listen, if you're here, you listen to our podcast, I would actually amplify the other voices. So check out Shannon's book, which she wrote, which is badass, Exiles of Tierlock. Check out Colin and Where No Mom Has Gone Before. It's a brilliant concept and brilliantly executed with my co-host, Casey Ryan. And Chuck, funny motherfucker, go find his Instagram because he puts good stuff up there. And
He
finally, last but not least, our podcast daddy, Michael, the one of the creators of Night Shift Media Group. We could not be happier to be there. We are in great company. I love all of the other stuff around us. There is so much good stuff. Night Shift Media Group produced a film this year. Can't wait to see where that goes.
Oh, yeah.
Seriously, go check out Night Shift Media Group. There's a lot of cool stuff happening. We're proud to be there. I'm proud of what we do, but I'm just as proud of all of our peers around us. Casey, what do you got?
The only thing I'll add to that is the name of the movie is Somnium. So look for it wherever it ends up. We don't know yet.
Look to see if you see any Casey's in it.
Yeah. Yes, Casey is in it. Yeah. Film Festival Circuit coming soon.
See? Yeah, Todd's in it too.
I haven't seen the final cut. I didn't have
I
a
don't
line.
think I knew
I'm
that.
not
You are in it. Yeah. We do see your face. Yep.
Yay!
Or at least in the last cut I saw. So
Chuck and I did craft services.
We tried to get Chuck to come up here and be an extra. It's like, come on up, buddy. It'll be so much fun.
I tried.
Yep.
All right. Well, go ahead, Todd.
No, listen, I love this, guys. Thank you all. Like,
Thank
and
you.
Yeah,
you
this is
guys.
fun.
This is
You're
the
welcome.
best
Always a good
one
time.
yet.
Always
This
a
is
good
so
time.
much fun.
Again, like, thank
Yeah.
you for dancing like little puppets while I make you answer stupid questions. I love it. Thank you for watching or listening wherever you are, and we'll see you next year for more of this debauchery.
Yay.
Bye everybody.
Congratulations,
Bye.
Colin.
Yeah.